Anyway, back to my conspiracy.
Sorry.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, right. You know the
satellite
I don't know why I'm
dishes.
talking into this, not making it.
Well, it's recording already, so you may as well keep it in for fluff and
Right.
filler.
Yeah, you know there's like some crazy massive lake in Africa that's like the size of a continent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So water, yeah. So water, guys.
yeah.
Cthulhu, right?
Water's always going to be flat, and it would go with the curvature, yeah, of the Earth.
Yeah.
Gravity would.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Earth, 25,000 miles diameter.
Okay.
Yeah. So using maths, I didn't do this calculation.
The internet did the calculation for
Yeah,
you,
pretty much. Yeah. So at a length of 12 miles, I think it is, the Earth should curve 16 feet every 12 miles.
Earth should curve 16 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But so I don't know if that's right. That was just a figure that I picked up. But
Every 12
Sounds
miles.
wrong.
you're
Sounds really...
That sounds wrong for 12 miles if you think how great the Earth is.
Yeah.
what, you think it'd be bigger or smaller?
I think you'd see the curvature miles and miles and miles past 12 miles. I wouldn't think you'd see a curvature of 16 feet of 12 miles.
I don't know.
Not
Again,
past it, like if you look from here to, I don't know, halfway to Eastbourne, or say from Bexhill halfway to Eastbourne.
yeah.
Or even to Eastbourne's only about 20 miles from
Yeah.
Bexhill. So,
okay,
you know,
yeah.
roughly from Bexhill to Eastbourne, flat land, looking at Eastbourne.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd see much curvature from it. And not only that, our eyes don't really pick that up.
Yeah, but this is what people. Well, anyway, back to the point.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
This
It
is
doesn't
what
doesn't
people
matter
that
what
are
the
insane
degree
are
is
saying.
over a certain over the distance of the UK.
Yeah.
If you could see from where we are now at the southeast to the tip of Scotland, you would notice curvature.
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
you?
you'd notice curvature
Yeah.
with that.
So I'm talking about a massive plane of water that is completely still. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no tide or anything like that. It's not moving. Over that amount of distance, which is, I'm pretty sure it's bigger than the UK,
Okay.
probably much bigger. But essentially, what they did was they had a boat that had a flag on the back of it,
Okay.
and they had a telescope, a really, really powerful telescope, obviously, in the water at the exact same height as the back of the
Okay,
flag.
to see if it drops.
And this, I can't remember the distance. Like I say, it's bigger than the UK, so it was a fair amount of distance. We're talking probably, 1,000 miles, maybe?
Okay.
And the flag stayed in view of the telescope the entire journey.
All right then.
So you would think it would dip behind the horizon. You'd think that eventually it would go so far that it would dip behind the horizon, and there'd be no way that totelescope pointing the exact same
Height would be. Yeah.
height would be able to see it.
Well, I've got one question then. So, the Earth's flat.
How do we travel around the entire thing?
Well, there's that too. But the main point I was going to say is we obviously orbit and rotate around the sun.
But this is things that they
or one thing that we know for certain. No. So you go against the fact that the sun comes up at some point in the day and then goes down again.
no, they're
So we're
basic.
spinning at some point. We are spinning.
No, the Earth is still, apparently, this is what they're saying. Essentially, they think that the sun is a hell of a lot closer to us than it actually is.
Just for the record, why would they lie about it though?
Why? Because can you imagine, right? So after the world's been declared flat
Yeah.
back in whatever time it was, and then suddenly I don't know, humanity takes a big leap, and then we decide, okay, the world's round.
Galileo gives it and goes, actually, I think we orbit around the
Yeah.
sun and
It
we're
was,
round.
but it was way before Galileo. They knew the Earth was round for thousands and thousands
Well,
of
he's taking
years.
credit for someone else's idea then, isn't he?
Yeah, that stuff's not
Maybe just
true.
change every history book ever written anyway.
But yeah, essentially, so if say it gets to the 19th century, and shit, the world isn't round. What do we tell people? How can governments that people have all their confidence in, and their governments suddenly say that something that has been proven fact for hundreds of years, something that is essential to our way of life, is wrong? How could you tell
Which
people?
is not
Well, the
essential
governments
to...
have gone against God.
Yeah, and they've gone against planets being
which was
planets.
a fact.
I don't know. It's in my head. I think like
And that's
people
gotta
wouldn't
be-
people wouldn't be able to accept it. People wouldn't.
That would be bigger. Denouncing God as a government. That's bigger than.
I think it's like, I don't know, hundreds of years, not of brainwashing, but if in your head of the world is round, the world is round, the world is round, everything rotates, everything spins.
The government's only going off what they've been told in the past as well. So the
Yeah, I
new
know, but I
government
don't
suddenly goes,
understand how
sorry
you
guys,
could just be like suddenly like, oh, I'm really sorry guys, but we're just going now that the world is actually flat and we've been lying to
we've
you
done
this
that
whole
with
time.
Pluto like 3 times. Like, it's a planet. Sorry guys, psych, it's not. Nah, planet's one of our mates. Come along. Nah, fuck off, Pluto. We're only joking. No, it's not now, but it was until recently.
Yeah, but I don't like when people get upset that Pluto's
No,
not a planet.
I'm not
It's
upset.
a
Don't get me
planet.
wrong. I'm not butthurt about it. But I'm just saying that it was at some point. And not only that, you say I'm essential to our way of life.
Well, I don't know.
think it would. It wouldn't change my perspective on me
No, I know,
being
but
alive.
you'd be fucked up though, wouldn't you? If someone was just like, yeah, the world isn't round.
I'd spend a while trying to comprehend it, and then after I'd be like, do you know what? It just doesn't affect me that much. I wouldn't sort of like, newspaper all over my windows,
yeah.
black out my house. Like,
But people-
I can't leave because everything is flat.
People go on about like flight paths and stuff like this, that flight paths on the globe model don't make sense. You put them onto a flat Earth and it makes perfect sense, like the time it takes to travel to certain places.
But they use the fact that the Earth's round in like usage of fuel and stuff. They like when you get high enough, they know they're curving round. They can detect they're curving round, and that's all part of how much fuel they load the plane with.
I
Because
don't
it's like,
really know
that's
what you're trying to
gravitational
say.
pulls.
Basically, so obviously, because if the world is round, you'd assume if you're flying along it, then eventually you'd
Yeah.
go out and
Yeah, okay.
past the clouds and out of the atmosphere because you're going in
Yeah,
a straight
yeah,
line.
yeah.
But the gyroscopes within the plane that tell where gravity or how gravity pulls on it will detect and make it go on a curve round.
Illuminati.
What if planes don't fly on fuel? They fly on happy thoughts.
Honestly, mate, join this Facebook group, yeah.
What's it called?
Just for a laugh.
What's it called?
Honestly, just for a laugh.
What's it called?
And I'm going to add you to it right now.
Please add me to it. I want to see people debating about this rubbish.
Mate, you might call it rubbish now. 2 months down the line.
Don't get me wrong, if it's proven, then I'll be like, damn, I was wrong.
But this is the thing, you can't prove it. It's all conspiracy.
No, but what I'm saying is if it suddenly comes out one day while we're still alive, in our lifetime, that the world is actually flat, I will find you, whether we're still friends or we don't know each other, I will come and find you, and I will say, I'm sorry, Alex, I was wrong.
Flat Earth
can't find
versus
it.
spherical Earth.
I can't find anything on this boat flag test.
No?
No, I can't find any.
What actually happened is he had a Hasbro
I probably read it on here.
remote control boat in his uncle's
I watched
backyard.
like
in his uncle's lake.
I got home from work at like 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock in the afternoon the other day after an early, and I was really tired. I was like, oh, I'll just put something on. And I put like this conspiracy video on about flat Earth, and it was like an hour and a half long. And then I was half asleep, and then I was like, man, so this is so real.
That's why it sunk in because
Ad member,
you watched
Josh
it.
Crunden.
You watched it while you were
Mate,
half
you're
asleep.
You're all brainwashed. This is what this is. Josh Crunden. Carl, do you want me to add you to the group? as
Please,
well?
please.
Sure.
Carl Lipscomb. Done. The only like thing that I have in my head of like
Is it Lake
this
Victoria?
can't definitely be right. Yeah, Lake Victoria. That's it.
Yeah, I can't even find any conspiracy theories about it.
Alright.
I think these
I mean,
guys
the
are there
government
just
trying to
talking
silence
shit.
The only thing that I can't comprehend is when that you look at other planets like the moon or whatever. They're round when you look at them through telescopes.
Yeah.
So
So why would ours not be round?
well, yeah, I know, but they're going on all this. Well, I don't know. That's one of my answers that I haven't
How
found.
did-
any.
how
You
did
do
the
know that
Earth
the
get
internet
made
does
then?
talk a lot of shit sometimes.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Everything on the internet is shit.
I'm glad you know that.
How did the Earth get made then? Because
No, we're not getting
gravity-
creation theory or
Yeah,
Big
but
Bang.
gravity's a 3D thing.
These people don't believe in gravity.
Please tell me you're joking. No, they don't believe in gravity. So what holds us then? Why are we not floating off?
I don't know.
Lead boots.
You're brainwashed, man.
You can't back up.
Just because I don't have an answer to the question doesn't mean that yours is right.
Well, it means I've got more.
No,
it means
yeah.
I've got more of a grasp on it though.
Right, this is another thing that kind of turned me onto it, right, about NASA lying, okay? Is that their original videos of when they went to space, yeah?
Yeah.
The women that used to go up there would perm their hair in crazy shapes, yeah? So that when they sent videos back to Earth, or wherever they're from, they could be like, do you know what I mean? Look what this no gravity has done. And they pull their hair down, like in these videos, this is back in like the 80s or whatever it was, they pull their hair down and it would bounce back exactly to where it was. And then you watch those no G planes or whatever, you see girls with long hair in there, and it doesn't just go ping.
No.
It floats around and it does, and it's pretty much hair that if you move it will follow you.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't doubt maybe that the moon landing didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that people have gone into space. They have gone into space. But I do have I'm skeptical about whether the moon landing happened.
I don't think the moon landing happened.
Because I know that at the time it was a race. It was a race between America and Russia.
Yeah.
Yes, so don't you think Russia would like to get there and say, no, there's no flag here? Why would Russia say quiet about this as well?
Russia already won the first person in space with Yuri Gagarin. They sent the first man into space.
This was during the Cold War. Russia won every single thing on their side.
Once something's been completed, they would have been like, okay, there's no point trying.
There's no point. They're wasting money. They're wasting money doing it.
They went there. Russia went there.
Yeah.
Maybe not back in the 80s, though.
Yeah.
Sure, they went to the same section of moon.
But yeah, when all these people like, there's hundreds of videos of people confronting astronauts, like, oh, I'd like you to swear on the Bible that you went to the moon. Not a single astronaut would swear on a Bible that he went to the moon. All of these people, get the fuck out of my face, rah rah rah. I'm not saying anything. I'm not talking to you. Like Buzz Aldrin, like all these massive astronauts.
Well, they all just didn't want to answer.
None of them wanted to answer. None of them wanted anything to do with it. All they wanted to do was just storm through, get out of that place as soon as possible.
But that could be also seen as, well, not going to dignify your ridiculous statement with an answer. Don't get me wrong, I'm playing for both sides here.
I can see that. But I mean, if that was me in that case and I went to the moon, I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. I went to the moon. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't just be like, no, not answering, get away from me.
You'd be like, look at this is moon rock.
And the amount of satellites they've got up there, where are all the pictures? Where's all the videos? It can't be that hard to take a video from space.
What do you mean?
Well, because
now.
Yeah, but they released, like, NASA releases like all these pictures of Earth.
Yeah.
And they're all really shoddy quality, or there'd be mix and match, so it'll be like pictures of the Earth all the way around, and then they'll just merge it together. Do you know what I mean? There's never like, how hard can it be? We've come this far in technology. We can get a fucking satellite up into space, but we can't get a picture, like a good quality picture.
There's loads of pictures from satellites of our stuff on the moon. Of Earth and stuff on the moon.
Go get some pictures up.
Just quickly, because we should start.
And,
the
and,
let's get off
Russia
this.
didn't land.
Josh is
on
bound
it.
to be convinced after he's joined this
No,
group anyway.
not about the world being flat. I find that one hard to believe.
Josh is gonna be
Especially
biting his tongue.
The gravity doesn't exist, and the sun, we don't spin, but the sun somehow passes us, but we don't rotate around the sun.
There was this wicked picture of the flat Earth concept of how the sun moves.
Has someone had pizza, by the way?
Yeah, Liz is cooking.
It smells good.
Oh man, that's really crap here.
I like that someone's taken the time to do this picture.
Mate, this like the Flat Earth Society or whatever they want to call themselves is fucking huge. Like, you're talking millions of people.
Challenger flag.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not doubting all these pictures. I'm doing the same as Josh and coming from both sides. There is nothing that we can't make on a computer nowadays.
No, that's the problem. Is the biggest problem with like imagery and pictures. You can't prove anything. You can say, look, there's a picture of me with so and so. It's like you can't prove either that.
On the moon as well. There's stuff there.
Where's this flatbread picture?
No, I'm trying to find, like I say, my...
Because that's what I find difficult to understand, is if we have a sun and a moon...
Because it even explains about like why the seasons are longer in some months and stuff like this.
But they don't believe that the Earth rotates or moves at all, it stays perfectly still.
I think that's what they're trying to say. I'm not 100%. I'd have to read more deep into it. Look, first thing, Flat Earth Society.org. Millions of members.
But what the bottom line is whether it's it ends up being proved or ends up being completely debunked.
Model.
Is it spending a lot of time on something that at the end of the day doesn't really benefit anyone?
Yeah,
Like if someone turned around,
lying to us.
they're not lying. They have no reason to lie. That's the biggest thing that I don't understand. Is it's like, oh, they're lying to us. It's like, what? Because Daddy lied to you about the bike for Christmas. Get over it. We're adults now. People don't always lie. I know the government lies about a lot of shit, but there's lying for a means to an end. I'm not saying it's right, but there's lying for the sake of doing it to gain something, and then there's lying pointlessly for no reason. It's not going to affect anyone if we find out that it's true. If I find out the Earth is actually flat and it has been all along, then all it's going to be like, we were wrong. Humans have now learned that lesson.
I don't think people would take it like that. I genuinely don't.
Then there's going to be a big group of stupid people that won't take it like that because somehow that affects them.
No, not that it affects them, just that they think, like, how have they thought this for such a long period of time? Like, this isn't a very good picture.
People think God exists. People think God exists. So what happens if we get to the edge?
Apparently it's an impenetrable ice. No one's got to the edge, or if they have, it's only.
But how have
only
we
people
travelled
higher.
around the world? People have
What do you
done.
mean around the? Yeah, but Carl, if you look at this, yeah. So if you went around the world, essentially, if you were just going east, yeah, all you would be doing is doing a circle. That would be east, continuously going
Because of
west.
because of magnetic north. Because it's always going to point
No.
towards the centre.
Yeah, north would always be the centre. South would be every direction. Yeah,
Around the outside.
around the outside.
So that would fuck up all
No.
things. You'd be finding, if you were like here, you'd be finding south all there.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, south would be the furthest point away from you,
Yeah.
but towards the edge.
but there's two furthest points away from you.
No, but the
If
furthest...
you're dead centre,
Yeah, very true, actually. So the Sun and Moon orbit is in the red for March. So what, it just orbits around the top of us?
Essentially, yeah. I think that's what they're trying to say, and obviously because during like the winter months it would move further out, meaning.
What I'm saying is if it's literally above us, just doing in a circle rather than going around the actual spherical planet,
Yeah.
is we'd be able to see the sun and the moon in the same place at the same time constantly.
No, well, because they
And we'd see
say
dark over one side, light over the
they
other.
say that again, like, I haven't done my proper research, and I'm sure these people probably haven't as well. But there's a certain angle or something that would hide the sun
Magnets
from
do it,
the
do
half
they?
of the world. There was another picture on there. It's 7:15.
Do you honestly actually believe this?
No, I'm
No,
just
no, no.
I'm just interested.
Yeah, we should get the podcast if you need to go at 8.
So it's like that sort of. I might not go to the gym.
Okay. Right, should we
I just
start?
want to talk about
It's
this
just-
for the rest of my life, forever.
Should we
what
start,
about
Carl?
the idea that the Russians
Carl.
landed on the moon first? Because that's here.
They probably did. America's always
Minute-
hated Russia.
minute-
Russia's always hated
minute-
I
America.
say that about the sun, and there's a picture like that.
That's what I mean. What's underneath? If so, what?
Well, I mean, no, obviously people have speculated, but I mean, there's what is that religion or whatever where it says that there's a tortoise underneath.
That's the tortoise. The Earth is flat, propped up on the back of four elephants riding on the back of a giant tortoise. That is is that Hitchhiker's?
Hindi.
Is that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
What was?
Is that not a Hindi?
Or is it? No, it's Discworld, isn't it? Discworld is.
Discworld has the tortoises all
Yeah,
about.
the world is flat on the back of 4 elephants riding on the back of a giant tortoise. That's Discworld. Is it Hinduism? It could be Hinduism as well.
I was only thinking of Ganesh. They like elephants.
They
don't
love elephants. Mind you, though, I would put up having the face of an elephant if I had like 8 arms. I think I could live with that.
He rides around on the back of a rat. Did you know that?
Pretty big rat then, yeah.
Oh, he's just really small.
I was.
They have 3 gods in India. They have Ganesh, which is the maintainer. They have like the creator, the destroyer,
Yeah.
and the middle one, which is the maintainer, which is Ganesh. And Bill
They-
Bailey made a great joke about this. Like the maintainer sounds like the janitor, basically. It's like, he's only got for fuck's sake. The Ganesh is constantly sweeping up, destroying all the things that the first god has created, destroyed by the last god. So the maintainer's like, put that off. He's gonna be pissed off.
There's loads of demigods
Oh, I know
in
this.
it. Yeah, but they're not like real gods. They're like between human and god. So
That's what
they live.
a demigod is.
Yeah, half god.
That's what
Well-
Hercules was a demigod in Greek mythology because he was the son of Zeus, but his mother was mortal. That's why he had amazing strength, but he was still mortal.
Demigods were just lesser gods.
Demi
means half.
Demi means half, but it usually means it's a human or half normal thing mixed with God. So Hercules was a
Well,
demigod.
I don't know. Well, they had
Atlas was a demigod.
one that, because they're not immortal, he wanted to drink. He wanted to drink a liquid of almost mortality thing, and he was drinking it, and then before it went down his throat, Ganesh turns up behind him and chops his head off. But because anything that the water touches makes it immortal,
So
his
his
head
head-
was immortal. So apparently in their mythology, this was about eclipses and stuff. He every time there's a eclipse, he's actually going up and swallowing the sun. But because he doesn't have a body, it just goes through the other side.
Oh, it goes out of his neck.
So you believe that my flat Earth story is... I hit...
Do you know
I
an
once
eclipse is
hit-
actually a demigod's head eating the sun and like it dropping out of his neck?
I once hit Ganesh with a frisbee at my friend Jay's house. He had like a little shrine, and we were playing frisbee in the house.
Just-
And,
I thought it was like someone was in fancy dress as Ganesh and just walking
Hey,
along.
Ganesh, heads up!
Oh, fuck.
Even with 8 arms, they couldn't catch his fucking frisbee.
man, he wouldn't let that go for ages.
Come on, I can't believe you hit Ganesh.
Like a little gold statue, just had some flowers around it or whatever. We played frisbee and it hit him. He was like, you're going to have bad luck for the rest of your life. Like, yeah. Try it, mate.
I'm pretty-
Fucking try it.
Believe flat
I'm pretty
Earth.
sure Ganesh would let a little frisbee foot mishap slide.
Yeah, man. Ganesh is cool.
Yeah, Ganesh isn't going to be. What god? If gods did walk among us and existed, you're like, God, frisbee. And he goes like, oh, you got me that time, but you know, I'll let it go. So I'm going to turn around like, that's it.
Internal damnation.
See,
God,
that's
God, I
what
was just playing frisbee.
that's what I don't understand about the Christian God. Of why does he get so pissed off if you don't go to church every week? He's been alive.
No, he doesn't get.
eternity.
This is what annoys me. He doesn't get pissed off. He does it with love. He does it with love. This is why Christianity.
Is he like a parent that just gets really disappointed?
Yeah, it really sucks. Whereas I think the Norse gods, the Egyptian gods, and the Greek gods are the most likable gods as well. Not only because they do more fun stuff, but also they're more human.
Well,
As in,
he was like.
I'm all about the pagan
he
gods,
was-
man. They're fucking awesome.
The thing, I don't think a god would be very human.
No, they.
If you're alive for eternity, you're not gonna give a shit. But like apparently, the God of the First Testament's completely different to the Second Testament. It gets really watered down. Or maybe that's just like he just doesn't give a shit anymore.
Maybe he just had a breakdown.
Yeah, he
and
just
was
was
like,
like-
fuck it, do what you like. I'm not interfering anymore.
if you
I
look at
tried. I fucking tried.
Greek and Norse mythology, like if a god that woke up one morning, or like just greeted the earth one morning and was in a bad mood for whatever reason, he would take it out on, or she would take it out on anyone, even if they didn't deserve it. And I see that as more, not that I believe in any gods, but I see that as more sort of like, well, yeah, all gods supposedly created humans to be sort of like in their own image, or at least sort of like, I wonder if there were lots of little me but without all my cool powers. There you go. Oh, look, humans. But it's like, oh, you fucking annoying, fuck off. It's like, well, why'd you do that? Well, I'm pissed off this morning. Whereas the Christian god's always like, oh, he did it because you're a bummer.
The
He-
term,
and he'll welcome you back if you stop bumming, but you're a bummer, so he snub, basically.
the term
It's
demigod.
just an excuse to prosecute people. That they
Yeah,
don't like.
Yeah, pretty much. It's basically a way to control people. If you don't do what I say, you're going to hell. That's how it works.
The term demigod has been used in various ways at different times and can refer to a figure who has attained divine status after death, a minor deity, or a mortal who is
Deity.
the offspring of God and human. So there, it can be
Can we
just a
start
minor
now?
one.
All right.
Yeah. See, I was right.
Man, we should have started.
No, we were all right.
This is
We were-
the
we were-
interest.
We were
Still
all
recording.
People
right.
listen to this.
We were all fucking
I'll
right.
tag everyone in the flat Earth. Yeah, they'll fucking love it.
Oh, welcome to episode 76 of the Row Punch Gaming Podcast, our second anniversary edition, and talking about whether the Earth is flat or round.
Great intro.
Cheers.
shit.
You didn't even pour your one in there, you arse.
Oh, you spilled his Lucasade into my iron brew.
Ah!
Beautiful stuff.
Just realised that my drink and my head match, and your drink and his head match.
Well, clearly we have to have sex now.
Yeah, clearly you guys need to get it
Let's get it on.
Which gets
Special
us,
anniversary edition sex.
which gets us on to
That'd be
sex
controversial.
sells.
Is it that all porn
That's
stuff?
what we should talk about. How controversial that last scene was in comparison to everything else that's ever happened in Game of Thrones.
I don't watch it.
Oh right, yeah.
I don't listen to hip hop.
Is it the sex sells theory that all porn stars are actually flat
Yeah.
and don't and we've
They
been
don't
lied to by the
exist.
government all this time?
I kind of think that you guys are taking the piss slightly.
No. This is
This honestly, this is
no,
something I hold close to my heart right now.
you
You
need
missed the entire conversation before.
No, that's
where,
gonna-
where
that
I
will be- that will be
factually
included.
laid
That
down
will be
facts where I did not lay down any facts.
I just need to invite you to this group, flat porn stars versus spherical porn stars.
Yeah, no, honestly, anyone listening to the
Flatpornsociety.org.
podcast, go onto Facebook and join the group Flat Earth versus Spherical Earth. It will blow your
It
mind.
won't blow your mind.
It will blow,
It will blow
your
your mind if people believe this shit.
It'll blow your mind if you've never heard of gravity.
Mate, you need one of those things from Men in Black that gets rid of brainwashing. No, that brings back your memory, doesn't it?
It doesn't get
Do
rid of
whatever you
brainwashing. It
like.
just makes you. It's basically a roofies on a stick.
No, they have the opposite thing.
Yeah,
But you have to
when they
you
have to bring
sit,
back
you have to sit
Thingy's
in a
memory.
chair, and it's a big system though.
And there's like bowling balls and
Yeah.
shit. Although that was in the cheap version.
Right, what we got for sex sales?
Right, so we're talking about Sugar DVD, which is a basically Netflix of porn, and it's on consoles. I don't know if it's on the English ones. But yeah, it's basically Netflix of porn. But what I'm talking about is they've released some things that, like statistics of theirs and stuff, like what people watch and stuff, and it's on computers and phones and stuff as well. Apparently, Xbox users are generally younger and have stereotypical younger categories. Pardon me.
Wait, including
So-
I've got a bit lost here now.
So that's
big bouncing boobs.
college and all girl are what they consider vanilla categories, and that's what's most popular. PlayStation users like more specialised experiences. So that's where, this is quoting, so that's where you see more niche stuff like Japanese or Redhead, and it says, well, technically Xbox users view Redhead more often. The younger generation is definitely more interested in redheads, while the older generation is more interested in blondes. And PlayStation users usually have more disposable income, from what we can tell. It's the kind of customer that really knows what they want, whereas the Xbox users tend to browse more. PlayStation users tend to go directly to what they want.
What scares me more is the fact that if it's on Xbox One, not only can you now view porn on your console, but Microsoft can stare at you while you do it.
Ooh, I did not think about that.
Go on, have some porn. We'll just be here, just checking your technique. What the fuck is that?
So let me see.
I like to browse. Who doesn't like to browse? Who
So,
goes
yeah.
who goes onto a website and then goes exactly what they want? 3 minutes in, I'm done. Let's get out of
It
it.
tends to be
This
a
isn't a business.
It tends to be a
I'm not going in there wearing a suit.
You sort of go in, sort of, I'm feeling lucky and adventurous today. On a lot of sites, they jumble around the categories as well. So it's sort of like, what's top viewed at the moment? It's like, well, everyone seems to be into big bouncing women, and you think, well, I'm not, but the next one, which says MILFs, might be.
I mean, essentially, it's just like Netflix, where you'll probably spend more time scrolling through the videos than you do actually watching them.
Yeah.
So
Well, look at all the thumbnails. No,
exactly.
No,
Just watching the little pictures pop up. No, don't like the look of that one.
The reason why they're collecting these statistics, right, is because, well, it doesn't produce porn. They obviously buy it, and that actually comes into what they buy. So it's not just like YouPorn or what other ones, where they just get stolen videos and all videos are just put on there. They actually go out and they talk to them. So they actually go, we want this many of like redheads because it's popular in this way, and we want this many of this things, and but they get everything right. So it's like it has to be this length of time because that's the preferable length of time, the preferable like actions, all this kind of stuff, and it goes even further for the fact that they are going to be producing their own porn. But as we were talking about VR porn before, they're looking into making a VR porn game, and not like those hentai games. They're looking into making reality, like human realistic games that you create the character. So you create the female or the male, if you're so inclined, and you design them to exactly your specifications and stuff, and then you can then
Virtually
virtually fuck them with a VR headset on. Yeah. And that's what they're using a lot of these statistics into working out how they're making
I would
that.
not want to get caught using that.
You wouldn't be able to tell.
You got the Oculus Rift with your headphones on. He's like, well, I'm done, take it off, and your whole family's just there watching you. What the fuck are you doing? Well, your roommates walked in just like, did you want a tea or anything?
Is that a melon?
Well, I find surprising about this company though is they've actually been at E3. They had a booth at E3 last year, and they go to other events. They've been to PAX East and PAX Prime and stuff. But whereas like a lot of game developers or publishers have like what do they call them? Like the women scantily clad and stuff. This is all very much a very above board situation. They have no like women in low clothing. They have no actual porn scenes showing. It's all
that
very
makes it seem
much-
even more shady in a way.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
all
hello,
weird.
we're all in suits here. Welcome to the porn experience. You said, oh, what the fuck am I going to be put into human trafficking if I go in here?
Yeah, they've had porn stars at it, but they've not been doing porn stars.
They've been doing their normal stuff.
Yeah,
like,
they've-
hello, my name is
Normal stuff.
yeah, hello, my name is
Laying on
Victoria,
their
but you can call me Candy Sucks. And
they've had what's her face, Misty Dawn, who's a big gamer and stuff as well. So I found her on
Misty
not
Dawn.
on porn. I found her out through a podcast, and she was on it. And yeah, she's a proper like geek and gamer person. So that's why I imagine they had her at E3 was because if anyone was like trying to like be like, well, do you like games and so and catching people out as a lot of
They're like,
nerds do.
I'd
Yeah, she can feel like, wow, and I think she has like a sleeve of like of game stuff as well, or geek stuff anyway. But yeah, it's I literally just found this out today. They had this other quote that I chucked in here because of no face mode we were talking about.
All right, yeah.
Last week we were talking about like big head mode cheats. We were saying about the Assassin's Creed Unity glitch where they didn't have faces.
I don't, but yeah, continue. Sounds
Well-
self-explanatory.
Yeah, they
He just had the eye models and the teeth models,
yeah,
but the
it's
face
basically-
was completely gone.
Yeah, there's no head. It's just like the internal bits of the head, and they were saying, you see, and we wanted that to be a cheat code in games.
So you just play around the whole game with no people have no faces, it's floating eyes and teeth within the head.
And so you see today in the games industry things like they're talking about like how people don't want to see pixels and stuff in porn. It takes them out of the fantasy that they're there.
Yeah.
Which I never have the fantasy of that. I'm standing in the room just masturbating watching people have sex. But sure, okay, maybe some people do.
Stop breaking my immersion.
You see today in the games industry things like Assassin's Creed Unity is a big Ubisoft Montreal is a big studio, is a big title, and still you have these major glitches where skin is disappearing, eyeballs are floating in the air, and people are walking through walls. I think if this happens once or twice in an adult film game, it's kind of enough to take people out of it. Yeah, I think if you're in a
You're
VR
missionary
headset,
with this perfect model that you've created, and then selling the faces, the eyes.
I think
I was just thinking of that scene from Indiana Jones with the face melting.
it's pretty much like, yeah. Probably just break my dick. Just be like,
Instant floppy cock.
yeah, so I definitely think. But yeah, I was interested.
That would honestly be the worst experience ever.
It would be.
The worst part is if it happened just as you reach the peak, so you like at the point of no return.
I hate it, but it feels good.
And then you're fucked up for life and can only enjoy porn with people with no faces.
I don't think that happens.
Yeah, afterwards you get
Is it like a
conditioned.
necessity?
You go back to regular porn and it's like, do you know what? There's too much face going on.
just doesn't do it for me anymore.
This is the infogram thing they have. So PS4 users tend to watch porn between 6 and 7 p.m. While Xbox One and iPad use it between 11.
Oh, then why is iPad and Xbox One lumped in together?
Because they're doing it at the same times. I'm
Right,
guessing.
okay.
They do it between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. So PS4 user top categories in order is amateur, big butts, Asian, college, and feet. And then 23% of people report that they watch it with a partner on PS4.
Do they mean just a mate, or do they mean their actual partner?
No, if they mean
It's weirder watching it with a friend, you know that?
No, it is weird watching it with a friend, but I've
says
heard of
with
people
a-
that do this. Yeah, we watch some
Yeah.
porn. It's like, what, with a mate? So you're sitting there, it's like, I'm just gonna check this. Are you finding this one?
I
Weird?
have watched porn with other people. Like we did it at Ben's
That
house,
does
but it,
not surprise
no,
me.
it wasn't. It wasn't.
Watched
It wasn't.
Playmate of the Apes. Didn't
Yeah,
we?
it wasn't.
That was just funny more than
No,
anything.
that's what I mean. I've watched it with other people, but only in funny situations like Planet of the
Playmate
Playmate
of the Apes.
and like Dexter, the Dexter parody porn. But we actually fast forwarded all the porn bits and just got to the story because it was hilarious because it was a woman and she was a cum splatter analyst instead of blood splatter, and it was just all the story of Dexter, but like from a porn, and it didn't make sense.
I just remember in Playmate of the Apes, this guy in a giant like pink ape costume just used to jump out from nowhere. It's like, everybody fuck now. It was so fucking ridiculous. Like you'd have storyline and just come out of nowhere like, now is the time for fuck, and everyone would just orgy all of a sudden.
Well, that was what happened in the end scene, wasn't it? They were like running away, and then a UFO like circular shit comes down, and the guy gets teleported out of it. If I can remember properly, a giant disco ball comes out of
a
it,
giant disco
and then all the apes and the humans just start having sex.
The pink ape was there as well. Though. Like all this stuff, it just jumps out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Fuck now.
Yeah, apparently 3 times more. Xbox One users are 3 times more likely to search redhead and teen, and PS4 users are 5 times more likely to search Asian. There was another statistic.
It seems a bit weird that these PlayStation users are using it between 6 and 7 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah. It's like
it's a right
before,
at the odd
before
time,
they
isn't
start
it?
gaming, it's just like, well,
Just
better
before their
jack
mum
off,
calls
like,
them for dinner.
Yeah.
The ultimate danger wank.
No, that'd be the VR
Someone tried to
porn.
convince me to do that once. They're like, "Yes, start doing it, and then call your mum and see if you can do it before
Yeah,
she
that
gets
sounds
to the
kinda
door."
like incestuous
It's like,
to
why the
me,
fuck would
like-
you do this? It's
That's,
like, how
that's
is
like
that
you
fun?
want. That's like you want them to find you. Like, I've never understood that. That's fucking weird. One statistic they had.
Because it's
on here-
dangerous and playful.
They had the
The
statistic
danger
on here
wank.
that Chinese people, one of their top searches is Japanese wives, which I thought was weird. Why are they searching for Japanese wives? Why is it not just wives?
Do you not
What's
think
the
Chinese people are searching this.
Yeah.
Do you not think in Asia they've got a section in their porn called Caucasians?
No, I could understand that if they search wives, then surely it would be coming up with just like Chinese wives and stuff.
Yeah, Japanese people look completely different to Chinese
Yeah,
people.
they are very different.
Yeah, no, but I just find it weird that they're like, I want specifically Japanese. Like, I could understand if they were searching Caucasian wives or something.
I'm all about the Russians. Have you seen the Russian women, mate? Honestly, the Ukrainian, the Russian women, blonde's fucking beautiful.
I've been saying this for years since I've been to Russia. Everyone's like, oh, Russian women all fat. It's like, you haven't been there, mate.
No, mate.
Go to Russia. It's only the stereotype that we have of these sort of like hairy women living out in a shack in the middle of Chernobyl.
Mate, the majority of European women are fucking sexy.
Yeah, well, Europe is definitely a common thing. People search Europe.
I've never searched Europe for a porn. I don't even know what I would include in that.
What do you mean?
Like,
I
what are you
think
getting
I
out of
think
searching
mostly
Europe
they're
in a
looking
porn
for
site?
like. I think they're looking mainly. Europe is like they consider just they're thinking of like France and Sweden probably.
I think it's just Americans searching that just to get like
no,
English
definitely,
people.
I think-
they
I
just
think-
think, oh yeah, that's Europe. That's fine.
No, I don't
They
think.
think Europe is a place.
I don't think they even think we're in Europe. I think
Yeah,
most
they
of the
probably
Americans
don't. They probably don't know what Europe is.
But I don't.
Is that an
really.
ice cream?
I don't. When I think of Europe, I tend to think of mainland Europe because we're not connected to the rest of it. Everything, all of the rest of Europe is connected by land masses, whereas we're not. So
Yeah.
Well, on the flat Earth,
Should we get into...
yeah, to last week of our lives.
I tried to echo you then, said a completely different word.
Did you go? Oh, shit! What's this word? Yeah,
Get my tongue round it.
Josh.
Josh is reading Flat Earth right now.
I think it was getting a phone call from
I was.
Flat Earth.
I was. It was like...
How do you do that
Yeah.
when there's no satellites?
I still. What? You didn't explain the satellite thing either.
Yeah, I know, because Josh interrupted me. We won't get into that now. Tell us to go away.
Yeah, Josh. What?
Mel, if you're listening
Do you,
to this,
do you want
suck.
to? Do you want to start your one? Because I don't know what you've done this week.
I don't know what I've done this week.
Exactly. That's why I thought you might be a good one to start with. 'Cause
Well,
me
I
and
haven't-
Alex have stuff to talk about.
I haven't had a lot to do this week, gaming-wise. I've been airsofting and working mostly, so...
What's airsofting?
Like paintball with BB guns.
It's not like
right,
he's surfing on air. Like that's really soft. Like it's
Wasn't
not like
what I was thinking.
Aang, the Aang Airbender. Like,
Out of all the things that were in my head, that was not one of them.
Yeah. So, do you have anything you want to talk about at all?
Talk about airsofting. How is it like getting hit with an airsoft ball?
With air. That is really soft, apparently.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It does hurt. I mean,
Where's
there's,
your bruises at?
there's an
Airsoft?
injury from 2 years ago from airsofting.
I thought you were going to be like, yeah, this is what I did last week. Oh.
Well, I could lie about that. I almost fell off Jamie's roof, so that's nothing to do with
I
airsoft.
fell off airsoft. I was floating on my ball of air.
Where is airsoft? Where do you do airsoft?
Where is airsoft, mate? Airsoft's a state of mind. You don't find it on your flat Earth. There are many sites. There's a new one being built in Hastings at the moment. Well, it's one being converted so it runs paintball and it's going to start running airsoft. There's a few out in Frant. There's one out near Tunbridge Wells. They're all over the country.
Okay.
But it's just another basic. It's like paintball, but not to try and dismiss paintball, but usually people are. You don't get.
He
as
thinks
many...
paintball people are pussies.
I never said that. You're taking words out of context there. A lot more tactics go into it. You tend to use a lot more gear. It tends to be a lot of people that are not always ex-military, but a lot of ex-military people go into it because they still like the idea of doing it without being in the military.
Right.
Stuff like
Because they're
that.
suffering from PTSD.
That sounds interesting.
It's a lot of fun. Jojo wants to get into it, and Joppers wants to get into it. So
I would like to do
Oh, what
it.
do you do it with a group of people then?
yeah, I've got a team that I go and do it with.
He just walks into town centre and starts shooting people with BBs.
Yeah, that's fun.
Just recreates that mission from Call of Duty, no Russian.
Oh god. But the only games I've actually played this week is I've just been still playing Town of Salem, and I did play a bit more State of Decay
Yes.
the other day, and I need to play some more Neverwinter with Liz,
Yes.
and you need to catch up on that.
No.
What level are you guys on Neverwinter?
I haven't played it for a
not.
while. I think I've got 2 characters, and I think they're both in their sort of mid-teens.
I'm not.
See, I got my mount, and then I was like, I can't go on now.
I'm like level 5, I think. I didn't play because everyone played without me. So I threw my Xbox out the window because I was in a huff.
It's because you're too busy posting on the Gamer Republic to play games.
You're posting on your mum. Alex, do you want to talk about your week?
Not after that. What
Because
have I
you've
done?
played something interesting and I want to listen to this.
What have I played? I've been smashing Destiny.
Yes, every time you come on you talk about Destiny. I think it's quite fitting that you're on the 2nd year anniversary podcast and your thing you're going to talk about is Destiny as well.
I didn't want to talk about it. It's all I've got to talk about. It's annoying actually because I haven't been on for a while, and I did leave
Like,
Destiny for
actually
quite a while.
stop
I was playing
playing.
other games, but I wasn't. No, that wasn't interesting enough for Carl, so I wasn't invited.
You're always invited if you want to come on.
What else were
No,
you
I'm
playing?
kidding. I was playing lots of GTA with Joppers and Poppers.
Yeah, I haven't played any.
I have on the 360.
It's
Did you get it on the
really
one?
fun. I had it on the 360 originally. That's the first place I got it. Did all story missions and that, and then I started online. But obviously, back when it was first released, online it was
glitchy as fuck.
shite. Like initially, all you could really do was rob shops and
Yeah.
wind people up.
Yeah, I haven't played it since then.
Is there a lot more to do out in the open world without going into, say, like a game instance now?
Not really so much in the open world. But the open world's just fun. That's kind of there if
the
you're
hub.
like
Right.
obviously if you're playing missions, that's you wanting to advance your character. If you're in the open world, you're just kind of there to have a bit of fun.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah, of
around.
course. Which is what GTA is all about.
Exactly, yeah. Which is why half the time you're in the open world, you're getting killed because it's people that just
So
want.
I never found the open world in GTA 5 multiplayer as fucking mental as the multiplayer of GTA 4. Like I only did that a few times, and one time I went in and literally I spawned there, and I think it may have been the first time I'd done it, and there was just cars piled on top of each other, just all tipped upside down. I just saw like 4 fire trucks driving past. This was all as I spawned, and there was just police cars, and all I could hear was sirens everywhere. And I was just like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I think I saw a tank like in the next few minutes, like after wandering around, and everything just was on fire.
Just
and
spawned into
dying.
Detroit.
And I was just like, "Okay, I don't think there's anything I can do."
See, one thing that
Yeah.
gets me about GTA is you watch all these videos and it's always really, really young kids, like really young, like talking smack about your mum and all that kind of thing. And I always just thought, oh, it's just these people that just find them every so often. But any time you go into GTA open world, there is someone that is under 12 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. I can't believe parents let their kids
Yeah.
play these games.
Yeah,
But they happily turn around and blame the game when everything goes wrong.
yeah.
I was
They watch their kid like beat a prostitute to death and then steal their money back, and it's like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, you go ahead and play. Life lessons.
At least,
and all that.
at least my son's got his money back. He's a real go-getter.
He knows how to not lose his money. He knows financial.
Yeah, he's good. He's good with money. He's pretty frugal.
I've been wanting to get it, but I haven't got it yet because I'm in an iron about whether to get it on Xbox One or PC.
The mods on PC look fucking cool.
Yeah, but my experience with what I'll talk about in a bit, I'm probably just going to get it on Xbox One, especially because I want to record stuff.
I would say the only thing about it is that you have to have other people to play with.
Yeah.
If you haven't got any friends that are playing it, then I wouldn't bother.
That was also the problem with getting on PC, was that I'd have less people playing it. But I want all the nice graphics of the PC and the lush stuff, but also I'm not gonna. I'll be on low graphics. My PC's decent, but it's made as a video producing machine first and not a gaming machine. So especially if I'm going to be recording, I maybe have to play it on low or medium or something. But when I'm recording, it's going to be absolutely shite.
That's why I'd want to get it for the one, because more of my friends would be on the one that they would on PC.
I mean, essentially, most people are getting it now for the heists.
Yeah,
And
I really want to do that.
I've done heists with random people a few times, and no one talks.
Yeah.
No one will put a headset on. You'll be sitting there, and obviously the heists are hard. They're like,
they're
most
like
of them are
raids
5 or
Destiny,
6
aren't
different
they?
missions, like consecutively, and you need communication because the majority of the time you'll start a setup, and sorry, Josh.
Sorry, you're jiggling my stomach.
And every player will have a different objective to do. They'll all have to go off in different directions and take care of a certain mission or whatever. But obviously, if you haven't got communication, it's not going to work out properly because you're all doing different things. It all has to be done within a time limit, and it just doesn't work. So that's why I say you have to play it with people you know.
Yeah, I don't think I would bother, even if I got the game. I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't play Heist at least without friends. I wouldn't. It's like I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't try and do a raid on Destiny without people that I knew. Like, I wouldn't go on the forums and just find random people and do it with them.
See, I think the forums, Destiny randoms are completely different. I'm playing with randoms all the time now, and they're always really nice guys. They always have their headsets on, and they're always talking and communicating. That's where I think the community is different in Destiny than it is in GTA.
Yeah, well, I can imagine for some very obvious reasons why that is the case. I think with Destiny, a lot of them aren't 12-year-old kids playing Destiny.
I'm just going to run to the loo quick.
No. Tough shit. Yeah, I think I might actually get it next time I can get it if you're still going to be playing it. And stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to have a break now because obviously there's lots of games that are getting released at the minute that need much playing. Like obviously The Witcher, which I'm sure we're going to get to at some point today.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. Do you want to carry on with? Because you didn't actually say anything about Destiny.
Didn't say anything about Destiny. Did I?
House of Wolves.
House of Wolves. Wolves. I really enjoyed it. I mean,
first off, who are the House of Wolves? I know they're Fallen. Are they a new group of Fallen?
The House of Wolves are they're deserters from the Fallen. That essentially they went up against the Queen on the Reef, who's an Awaken. She the Queen of the Awaken. And to stop the fighting,
which is a race
she put down a peace treaty, essentially. Yeah. And some of the wolves betrayed her, turned against her.
So in the bit when you meet her, is the Fallen that's with her, they wolves?
They are not, no. They're some of the Fallen stayed with her. Not all of them betrayed her. But essentially, because she kept the Guardians out of the Reef for a long time, she didn't want anything to do with them. Yeah. And then after this betrayal, she kind of thought, fuck it, let the Guardians in. They can go and collect these bounties on all these wolves and stuff. Yeah. But storyline wise, there is none. That is essentially all the story you get throughout all of the DLC. There's not a single cutscene. The only fragments of story you get are going into the mission where you're getting spoken to by some random person, and majority of that is rubbish.
That's really surprising because obviously after the backlash of Destiny and the last DLC, they were saying that they were reworking House of Wolves massively, and I thought that was going to be all about putting in story and heavily like changing all of that stuff and making it a lot better, but they haven't at all.
I thought that they were also going to focus a hell of a lot on the story this time because, like you say, because of the backlash that they had. But it seems to me that what they focused on is all of the complaints that they had on the previous DLC.
Yeah.
So the whole game has changed up now, like the whole weapons upgrading system, armor upgrading system.
Try and keep the mic pointed towards your mouth.
it's completely different now than what it was originally.
Yeah.
And although it's better now, less grinding.
Yeah, I've heard that there was a lot of problems. I didn't play the last DLC either, but I heard there was a lot of problems with how they treated exotics and stuff. And that they've taken that out and fixed a lot of
essentially originally you'd level up your exotic, which takes quite a long time, and then the Dark Below, the first DLC came out,
that's the one.
And all the damage went up on every weapon, on all the exotic weapons, and even though if yours was maxed originally, it wouldn't be then, so you'd have to re-level your entire exotic to get it to the new max level, which seemed a complete pain in the arse because you'd already done it once.
Yeah, and it wiped it, so you had to do it from level 1, was it?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But now they've changed it so that you can use this special material and it will upgrade it immediately to the new damage rate. So there's no real grinding. But see, the thing about Destiny, I've talked about it before. Is they hook you. You have to come on Tuesdays to do their nightfalls, their weekly strikes, their raids, because they reset every Tuesday. And now that this has come out, they've hooked you twice a week because they've got the arena on there, which is essentially a wave-based horde mode. Really fun to play, and you can only do it once a week, but there's 4 different levels, so you've got 28, 32, 34 and 35, so you can do each one of those once a week. So if you've got 3 characters, you're doing it 12 times essentially. And that comes out every Tuesday. And then now they've released Trials of Elder, which is a PvP Trials Osiris, is a PvP based thing, which is really fun to play. It's elimination, so it's 3 versus 3. You can revive, but once your team is eliminated, that's the end of the round.
Didn't they have a mode that was similar to that before?
They
that
had
was 3v3.
Iron Banner.
Wait, no, I'm pretty sure there was one mode that was 3v3 and you couldn't respawn in it.
Not that I know of. They've got Skirmish, which is 3v3 with revives.
I don't know. Maybe.
But essentially, they've released this, and that comes out Fridays till Tuesdays every week. So you're doing all your nightfalls on the Tuesday and everything else, and all the arenas and raids. And then again, as soon as it gets to Friday, you've just about had enough time to complete all those things. And then Friday comes, and you've got Trials of Osiris that you have to take part in for however long, and that is hard. I got a flawless victory the other day, which is 9 wins and 0 losses.
Did you get the Lighthouse?
I did get Lighthouse.
Awesome.
I went to Mercury, I think it is, and I opened my chest there and got some really cool items out of it.
Is there other people there, or is it only yourself?
It is a social space,
that's
so
what
theoretically
I've heard.
you should be able to go there and there'd be other people there, but when we went there wasn't. It was just us 3.
I think maybe just because
but then again,
so
it
hard
might be
to get
because
it.
it's so hard to get there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
it took me a long time. I was playing with really awful teams, and you just got to persist. Because if you haven't got 2 players, again, communication, because there's no respawns,
There's
you
so
have
few
to
of you and there's
have
no
to communicate.
respawns,
And it's all based on how. What weapons you've got, basically, because essentially you go into that and everyone will be using one of 3 weapons. Hundreds of weapons in the game, but it doesn't matter who you play against. There's 3 weapons. You've got Thorn, the Mythoclast, and the Last Word, which is 2 hand cannons and 1 crazy
I thought that was
fusion
you
rifle.
trying to think of the name. Like, the Last Word.
But yeah, essentially, like if you wanted to win it, you need those weapons. It is essential that you have them because the amount of ridiculous damage that they do. So people are getting smashed about online. But it's really good. Not enough storyline in there. There's probably took me about 2 hours to get through all the story missions and everything else. And I maxed my character on the day of release. Which I think I've got about 20 friends online that play Destiny, and I was the first. I'm just saying big deal or anything, but yeah, I was the first to 34.
Yeah. I'm still level 26.
Kind of a big deal around here.
You're nearly 10 levels higher than me. About on the lighthouse. When I heard about that, I was like, oh man, that sounds awesome, like an exclusive.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was a separate room of the tower from how I first heard about it, and I watched the video and I realised it was on Mercury. I still thought it'd be awesome, like an exclusive social hub for people, but like the video that I watched, it was the guy was on his own. And
There's nothing in there.
There's nothing
no
there. Part of your chest.
NPCs,
I thought it would have all the stuff of the tower,
Yeah.
so I thought there'd be a bounty board, everything there, which would make it the social hub.
With the DLC, there's already a new social space, which
Yeah.
is the Reef.
Yeah,
And
the
like
Reef
you
one,
say,
yeah.
that's exactly the same as the tower, pretty much. You've got
Yeah.
your vendors and your bounties and everything else. So you would have thought that if this is another social space, that they would have had those things in
Yeah.
there, but they don't.
Don't you think if they've had such backlash against like complaints with things, that if they made suddenly a hierarchical, like elitist area for people to hang out, people would be like, "Well,
Well, it is an elite area.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not disagreeing with it. I think things like that should exist in games sometimes if it suits what it's trying to put out. And this Destiny's a very competitive
Yeah, most
I wouldn't-
definitely.
game, and people take
Yeah.
it very seriously, which is great. So I think that suits it perfectly. That you have like
Yeah.
it's called the Lighthouse, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
have it as
yeah.
like its own little town, and you can only get there if you've.
Yeah, I don't
Proving
think there would have
yourself.
been any like big backlash against it. I mean, it would pretty much be all the same stuff. Like
I can
as
see
the
why
tower.
people are getting annoyed though. Like my friend Ali, who is obsessed with Destiny, when he found out
Yeah.
that I'd got the flawless and got there, he was so pissed off. And I can understand what that is, because it's like I've paid for this game and I can't get into all the areas. Do you
That's
know
what I mean. That's what I mean. But it's not that you have to buy the areas; it relies on skill. But people still
Yeah.
get annoyed by that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
but-
the same way all the way
but-
through Destiny, because it's like,
Yeah,
I paid for this
exactly.
game, but I can't play the raid because I haven't got enough players.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what Destiny is. So I don't see how like
I'm not disagreeing with that.
like, I can't-
Some of these things
like,
kind of
I
irritate
can't
me a little
go and
bit.
say you're not 26. I can't do a raid.
Yeah.
I'm
because
just
I'm
saying
not
that
level
people
26.
people do like to moan about things like that.
Yeah,
Even if
but-
it is half the point, is we'll train up, get some friends, and then you can. It's like,
Yeah, but
oh,
that's-
but I
that's
paid
the
for this
thing.
game. It's like, yeah, but it's a a mechanic
Yeah.
within the game, or it's a part of the game.
Well, it's an MMO, and MMOs have that kind of thing.
Well, they are high. They do rely on a hierarchy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
level represents your skill.
Yeah.
It shouldn't do it in skill of how good you are, but
Yeah.
it is going to cast out. Oh, you're only level this. It's like, yeah, well, I'm a good player. It's like, yeah, but you're only level this. This is how people see it.
Yeah. Well, even worse with. I mean, it happens in Destiny, but even worse with like something like WoW, where you can be kicked out of a raid team because you're not wearing the exact right gear.
Mate, that will happen all the time in Destiny.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Happens, but like from the amount that I've heard from it from WoW compared to the amount that I've heard it on Destiny. WoW seems much more. It may be because raids in WoW are a higher number of people. It's like what 40.
I think so.
25, 40. I think 25 for the
I
hero
forget.
one.
I never went in for raids, to be
I
honest.
think they're 25 for the hero version and 40 for the normal ones. I think I can't remember. I've never actually done one, but yeah, that happens, and they sit and scan every single one of those people
Yeah.
and check them, and then they kick every person out that's not. Whereas in Destiny, sure it happens, but then you only got the 6 people.
Yeah.
Or-
See, I mean, I use the forums a lot, like I say, to get things completed, and you go into the forum, and obviously it's linked to your gamer profile, so they can look at your
Yeah.
characters and see what you've got and stuff. But a lot of people, they're so desperate to get these games that they'll go onto the forum and they'll be like, looking for a game. This is the equipment that I've got. These are my good items.
Yeah,
Because obviously, like,
it only shows what you've got equipped, though, doesn't it?
yeah, when you show what you've got
and that's
equipped.
the problem.
Yeah.
So if you're like leveling up a gun,
yeah.
and that's the last time you were on, then it's going to be showing that, and it's like, no, I have the fawn.
Like to complete the level 35, the highest arena that there is at the moment, the only way possible at the moment that it's been done is with Galahorn. Galahorn being the most powerful, overpowered rocket launcher in the game. Essentially, you'd get people going in there. A Titan would whack up a bubble, which would put weapons damage higher, so you get like an extra 15% damage or something. And then you get 3 people in there with fully maxed Galahorns laying into him, and the boss will be gone in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So, like I say, when people are searching on forums and stuff, if you haven't got Galahorn, then you're not getting into a game.
Yeah.
And it's an essential weapon. And this is something like Destiny, they'll never ever sell it again. It's only ever going to be an RNG drop. So people who've had the game from day one still haven't got Galahorn, and that meaning that they can't get into certain games.
But that's players making that hierarchy, not the game itself
Well,
forcing
oh, yeah,
it.
but
I mean, the idea, like people with Destiny is they want to get through the game as quick as they can now. There's no real, let's stop and have a look at this. They just want to smash through, and to do that you need the best weapons, which is just an unfortunate circle.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find a meme that I found online the other day. There was a meme that I found, and it was new armor for House of Wolves, and it was the Galahorn, but like every bit of their body was covered with a Galahorn.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was really funny. They had like the lion face of it like on their face, and then like all the arms and the chest were just full of Galahorns everywhere.
Some of the new armor and weapons is fucking cool. Really cool stuff. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the House of Wolves weaponry yet. Annoyingly, I may start playing it again, but at this point I may just leave it until the comic comes out.
Noah's just picked it up.
Oh, is he? But he's only got 360, hasn't he?
No, he's on Xbox One now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and he's I think he's just got to level 29 or 30.
What? For fuck's sake!
He's
beat me
sort of around your area, so I mean, it would be a good time to get on it.
Has he just kept the one character?
He's only done one so far.
So that's the problem with me. Of the problem we all know about is that I can't stick to characters.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm level 26. Is because like I have 3 level 26s.
There's only 3 characters though, so you can't go like crazy with it like you did on Fallout.
Can't make other accounts and do it.
No, I deleted characters to make new ones.
But why?
Because I wanted a different race.
A race that makes no difference.
Let's not
You
get
can't see it.
let's not get onto this part.
Even at the tower
for an hour.
Yeah.
Even at the tower now, you can wear your helmet,
Can you?
and the majority of people just walk around wearing a helmet. So
Why would I do that?
No one has
Why would I
any
wanna do
idea
that?
what race
Why
anyone
would I
else
want to
is.
do that? I wouldn't do that. I don't want to wear a helmet in the game. I want to have my face shown in the game. I don't want that in
Don't
the
set him
social
off.
hub.
Don't set him off.
Ugh. If I sit like this, maybe I won't shake.
That's all right. What have you done with the last week of your life, Carl? And if it's about The Witcher 3, fair enough, but I want no spoilers because I plan on getting it ASAP.
Yeah, me also.
So, talk about the game mechanics. Do not tell me any of the story. Any of it.
So basically, Geralt goes on and he meets this witch, and he has sex with her.
Spoiler.
Geralt has sex with a lot of people.
Yeah, we know this.
There's an insane. I was actually thinking about doing the sex sales just about the sex bits of Witcher, even though I haven't actually had a sex scene myself yet. I was going to just like talk about, because there's a unicorn, which you can have sex on top of a unicorn in it.
I thought you were going to say you can have sex with the unicorn. That
No.
that sort of goes back to a few podcasts ago when Alex was on as well about you wanted to paint a horse
Well,
blue.
yeah, I'd be wanting to paint it, but I mean, you can't do that apparently.
No. No, you can't.
But it's perfectly fine to have sex with one.
Who said
I
that?
know.
You two!
Who's justified this?
You two made it sound more okay to have sex with a unicorn, sex with a horse, than it was to paint it and make it look like a unicorn.
I don't remember any of us
I
saying
don't.
that.
You
I
both
don't,
If I
did.
did, I was probably just on a roll and just going with it
I
at the
don't, I
time.
don't think any of me,
That was cut
Alex-
content anyway. You can't prove anything.
Alex, was Dom with us for that? Dom was with us, wasn't he, for that one?
He'd probably have a lot to say on that.
He's probably done it.
I think it was all you.
Well, I was the only person on the podcast.
No, just talking about horses.
Me and Josh were saying it going, this is really
I
weird.
think we all sat here poised towards the door. I really want to get a horse. Fuck it and paint it blue. We're just sort of
See you
sitting there
later,
like,
No, you guys wanted to see that.
I'm sure you'll take that quote that I just said and take that out of context.
Oh, I should now. I keep getting off camera. Yeah, so The Witcher 3.
Is it as good as it's been made out to be?
It's definitely... That and Dying Light are my games of the year so far. That,
Do love
Dying
Dying
Light, and Halo 5 are probably going to be my games of the year.
Can't call it till it's out.
I'm saying probably. Though, unless Fallout 4 does come out this year, then that's easily obviously going to be number one.
Or even if it's rubbish.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be rubbish compared to the ideals that people have about that game, even though it hasn't been announced. It's going to reach nowhere near as much as people expect. I had some guy in a forum earlier that was like, what about if Fallout 4 is going to be all of the 50 states, and then people be like, oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh,
So
but it's been bigged up now.
yeah, it's like, how would that fucking even work? Like
What if they
you
made a
couldn't
Fallout
do
Online, like the Elder Scrolls Online?
You'd be sat in California, be like, shit, I need to get to Washington. And you just put your controller down and like tie a string around
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
you
go
could-
to sleep for like 10 days until
There's
you
no
get there.
vehicles. The fastest you travel is by Brahmin. Like, and they don't walk fast. Like, they're fucking shit.
You got fast travel though.
Yeah, but you do have to
Yeah.
discover the
Oh, yeah,
location.
yeah,
first.
you need to discover
If
it.
that was the case, if they do it across 50 states, they'd probably have another fast travel system, not like you can do automatically, but you can, like in old, like in Skyrim,
Yeah.
that you can pay to go to this location
Yeah.
to discover it.
Yeah.
So it would work as a fast travel mechanic, but once you're there, you've
I think-
discovered it, you don't need, like in Skyrim, you can use the carts to get around
Yeah,
to
I
major
mean, there would be
cities.
Brahmin cards probably, but like, and one guy was like, "Well, that would just destroy the game, like make it run really slowly. They would have to have it as each state was its own instance." It's like,
Yeah.
still, they can't even generate a full size like actual city. Like in 3, it was meant to be Washington DC, but it was nowhere near the size of actual Washington DC.
No.
Then that like made the game slow enough. Imagine if they were fucking trying to do an entire state that you could walk across one side to
Yeah.
the other. You couldn't. It's fucking stupid. It's
It
fucking
can be done,
ridiculous.
but it would have to be
was
instance.
if it was a city in each state, one city in each state, bit more fairer. And if you had to fast travel between each one,
So each
Like-
state has like a safe city. If you go outside of that, it's made like for the game sort of.
it's just
flow
death
of it.
claws. It's
Yeah,
just a wall of death claws.
They'd
like-
literally just say, "Don't go that." It would take you'd hit like an invisible wall or a barrier that says, "Don't exit" or "Do not leave."
Or-
Death
yeah.
claws.
Maybe
No,
it's
they-
a flat Earth. Then.
they probably do. I think what they do in Fallout as well is if you go too far out of bounds, there's just radiation.
Or instant death.
It's just shitloads of radiation, and it just goes.
no,
so,
a
like-
death claw jumps out of
Yeah.
nowhere and just rapes you, which happens a lot.
Yeah, they actually rape you.
Yeah,
It's
they do.
pointy fingers.
Yeah, they rape you with their fingers. That would be
And they also have human voices as well.
You like that bitch?
If just
No, I
one Deathclaw
don't.
spoke to me like that, it'd be horrific. They should have a Deathclaw companion in the next one. That'd be well good.
I'd rather a centaur companion because those things are horrific.
Centaurs were dumb.
No, but
I
they're
hated
horrific to
centaurs.
look at. That's the
Yeah.
thing. They're horrific. So you'd be walking to a
And
town
you'd be
with one.
having to wait so long. They move so slow. They're like.
It would have prosthetic. It would have its legs cut off, and
It
it would
was
have
such a
wheels.
stupid enemy.
It would have
It
wheels
was.
and a string that you pull it
It
off.
never existed before, yet they were like meant to be something. The
Didn't it have like
supermutants
a
have.
massively long tongue as well?
It had like a
Yeah.
bloated, like half of its windpipe was sort of coming out of its mouth with its tongue. Yeah, but in all due respect, nothing. When it comes to radiation, there's no limit of what things. You can't be like, oh, that's a species that exists. It could be like, what the fuck is that? Oh well.
No,
it's
I mean that
down
wasn't.
to radiation.
that wasn't in the previous Fallout games.
No,
Whereas
they made
everything else was.
Yeah, but they made something new.
It looks a lot more like some kind of splice than anything else, like that radiation would do.
Well,
Radiation can
Not-
answer all things.
there's not only radiation
sense-
stuff. Deathclaws aren't made from radiation.
They're experiments, aren't
Yeah, they're and
they
and
enclave
super mutants
experiments,
are
wouldn't
also
they? Experiments.
FEV is stuff they used to make them as FEV thing. So fair enough. FEV.
So Spanish. You're going
So
to Italy,
fair
Carl.
enough. Not everything is even limited to just what radiation can do. It is also experiments of the government before, and because Deathclaws were made actually before the Great War, and
That's a scary thought.
yeah, and also then you have like the FEV stuff. So and you have the Enclave. So yeah, they could. Someone wanted the enemy faction to be the Enclave in the next one. It's like they got beaten in the second Fallout, and then they got beaten in the third Fallout. I don't stop fucking just bringing up the same ideas. I really don't want the Enclave in this at all. Like they're just fucking boring now.
I wouldn't mind them being there, but as like
Not as a-
side
not as a
story,
main
I
Yeah,
liked how
and-
they were in New Vegas, where there was a bunch of really old people that were from the Enclave,
Yeah.
and there was a quest to like bring them together and stuff. It's like sure there may be remnants of people who were
Yeah,
in the
you have
Enclave.
it like even a small like faction of rebel or people
Yeah,
trying to start an
anything, but I
insurgency
don't-
saying
Because it was the
like,
same with the Brotherhood, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
they had that small like
They
little
had the
society, and you
outcasts,
could
yeah.
join them, but I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't like
like a
Yeah.
neo
Three or
enclave.
whatever.
People sort of look like they're not part of the original enclave, but seeing it and sort of think, oh, we
Even
should
if-
get behind that. Like we have
even if-
neo Nazis these days. sort of
Even if
thing.
that was the case, that's fair enough. Though the Enclave looked down upon anyone who was born in the wasteland because they're unpure.
Yeah, but that's how things evolve, though,
yeah.
don't they? People will take that and say we like the ideas of it, but we kind of screwed on that
yeah,
one.
that would be fine. I wouldn't mind that at all. But you just can't keep bringing the actual Enclave back. They're done. They've been done twice. Their home base got destroyed in the second one. They were all meant to be wiped out then. And then Fallout 3 was just like, well, this whole game's just made up of bits of story from the other two games. Like, the whole plot of Fallout 3 revolves around water, which was the point of the first one, because the whole thing was you were having to find a water purifying chip thing for the vault. And the second one, it all revolved around the Gek. And then the storyline of Fallout 3 was all about bringing water to the wasteland, and how you did that was with a Gek.
Yeah.
And it was all about the second thing. And the most annoying thing about Fallout 3 was you're a massive daddy's boy, who like whole thing in life is I'm going to try and track my dad down.
Yeah, but if your
because
dad
I'm
was,
really
if your
sad
dad was
that he
Liam
left.
Neeson, then you'd want to track him down as
Yeah.
well.
It's
Seeing as Liam Neeson spends
took
all his
me-
films
did
tracking
you-
other people
Is Liam
down.
Neeson the voice?
See,
Liam
yes,
Neeson is
see,
the voice
I
of your
was
dad.
so surprised. That took me ages. I fucking went on. I had the Fallout Wiki page, the Vault, as my default homepage for like a year, and I read every single thing on that site. But still, it wasn't. It was like another year on that I realised that it was Liam Neeson as
Yeah, I
as
didn't
the dad.
realise
Like,
that. I
Yeah,
had no idea.
You've played Oblivion?
Yeah.
yeah.
Little spoiler. Patrick Stewart, voice of the Emperor.
Oh no, I knew that. Yeah.
I didn't know.
A little other spoiler. Martin, the monk that
Yeah.
becomes the king.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Bean.
I didn't know that. I did recognise
That
his voice.
doesn't
though.
work. He doesn't die.
No, but it's Sean Bean.
Yeah, but he can't.
That's only,
be-
only in acting roles, in like film acting and TV acting roles. That's that's voice acting. That's different.
Now, voice acting negates his death clause that he has to die in every single
why does he
role
have
he's
death
in.
clause? Just imagine Sean Bean with death clause. Like, death
Just
clause,
imagine him
death
walking-
clause.
I imagine him walking down the street with death claws as pets.
I thought he meant like his hands were just that of death claws.
You can get that in Fallout New Vegas.
I
You
know,
can get the death
but
claw.
like he actually has them as hands. He's like, what the fuck?
Edward Scissorhands.
Ned Wood Scissorhands. Ned Art
Edward
Scissorhands.
Scissorhands. Anyway, there's not death claws in The Witcher 3. There are a lot of things.
But there are witches.
There are witches and witchers. A witcher is not a witch hunter, as
I
a
know.
quest that I just had. That
I know. I do play.
No, a village guy
Alright.
in the quest says, you're trying to track down a witch. No spoilers. You're trying to track down a witch, and he says, "Don't." He's like asking you not to kill her, and I'm like, why would I kill her? It's like, well, that's what you are, isn't it? A witch hunter. And it's like, I'm a witcher, not a witch hunter. They're different things. He's like, oh, is it? Oh, so you fucking live in this universe, man. But that line's clearly, like, character's clearly there for people who haven't played the previous Witcher games in there. And it does kind of sound like you could
Witcher
be
doesn't hunt down witches and kill them. Witcher hunts down witches and fucks them on
them.
unicorns.
Yeah. You actually meet other witches. I don't know if you've met the other witches in the previous games. I know you meet them on the opposite side. You fight like Letho and stuff, who's a witcher. But I don't know if you meet other people from the School of Wolf. And you do in this one.
Okay.
You start off the story with them, which I was quite interested to see.
School of Wolf sounds like. Just thinking of a really bad. What's his face? From Tenacious D. Jack Black film called School of Wolf.
It's just the School of Rock storyline, but with wolves instead of the kids.
They're all fucking. They're all, even he's a wolf. He's an anthropomorphic wolf.
No, they're just normal wolves.
In clothes.
Yeah.
In human clothes. What a great script that film's got.
This game, it's amazing. I've been playing it on PC because I got it for free. Because, you know what, I rock. I'm awesome.
We know why you got it for free.
Because I'm awesome.
Blowjob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it for free.
Little hand shandy.
Someone at work, when I told them, they were like, oh, well, sending that dick pic out worked. I was like, well, if you send out enough, eventually.
So you just got to be persistent.
Yeah.
If I give you The Witcher 3, will you stop sending me dick pics? I might.
Yeah, I got sent it by someone who, I think he works at a GameStop, not GameSpot, that's the website. I think he works at GameStop, and they gave him all like codes or something, I think, or maybe just him, I don't know. But he gave me it because he didn't want to play it on PC. Yeah, it was like over the Atlantic Ocean, like really long hand.
Gargle, and hey mate, that's what the Oculus Rift's for.
Yeah.
The Coculus lift.
Oculus Rift. So that game was amazing. It was so annoying. The day I got it, I was at work, and then I got the messages. Like I checked my phone, and Liz. It was on the forum I'm on, and Liz and some of the other guys I'm friends with were all talking on there. And I sent him. He had sent a thing like, "Oh, is anyone playing Witcher 3 on PC?" And I said, "No, how are they playing it or something?" I was like, "I want to play on PC, but me and Liz are probably going to go on Xbox One because then we can share it between our Xbox Ones and both play at the same time." And then that was it. I left it, and I checked later on, and he was like, "Oh, how about you get your do you want your own copy, like so you can like have it on your own? You can have it on PC." And then Liz and my other friend were talking on there about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure he'd be loving it." And I came back and basically I had the copy, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And Liz said she was going to download it for me on the PC and get it all set up for me. So I got so happy. I came home, and then I realised that my PC had been too full and it didn't download anything. And it took.
I saw what you were saying about
it
that.
took over 4 hours for that all to finish. I had to clear out a bit of space on my PC. Tried to download it and it's downloading insanely slow. So I was like, got my laptop, connected to my laptop by Ethernet downstairs. Had that downloading it, and then I had to take it off the laptop and import it to a portable hard drive, and then onto the PC. So the whole process took about 4.5 hours.
Do you know what I would have done?
What?
I would have just waited for it to download on my PC.
Yeah, but that would have been I probably wouldn't have got it until the next day.
When you got the message
The
as well from your
slow
friend
taken,
saying,
yeah.
"Oh, how would you like your own copy?" And he's like, "Yeah, great, thanks, man. I really appreciate that." And then a month down the line, you get a phone call like, "You know that favour I gave you? You know, I gave you that copy of The Witcher 3. Yeah, I need a favour."
What, I need you to jack me off or kill
This is
someone?
why I need to be friends with these nerds.
It was good because I'm an admin of that group. We have a group chat of all the admins, and Liz and Prazan from our guy. They were like, it was Ernie Vineyard who gave me the game, to give him a shout out. Liz and Prazan were talking like,
Just to say
Carl's
he
gonna
owes you
be-
one now.
Yeah, where's my copy, Ernie?
Liz and Prazan were talking on the group on the chat, being like, "Oh, Carl's going to be so excited." Like, no, he said, "Carl, what do you think about that? Are you excited?" I didn't reply, and she's like, "Oh, he's at work. He's going to be so excited." And they were talking about me being excited, and I was like, I saw that first. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was just check the forum. I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" So, because I wasn't going to be able to afford it for a while either. That was the issue as well.
That's my
Yeah.
issue at
So-
the moment.
Yeah,
Well,
but
see,
yeah.
I'm not really worried 'cause it's single player, so you can pick it up whenever you like.
Oh
It's-
yeah. I
Yeah.
would like to play it sooner rather than later. Though the only problem with that is you know the internet is memes and
Yeah.
spoilers will get out, and I'll sit
Yeah.
there like, no, don't tell me anything, and then it will just be like, there you go,
So, Geralt,
don't, or I will absolutely smash your face in.
he's tracking down. Okay, in the game, there's the Wild Hunt.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Josh looks like he really wants to hurt you right now.
I fucking hate
Well, it's the title of the game, The Wild Hunt.
you. Yeah,
So-
I know.
so- that's my joke spoiler.
Good stuff. Good
I'm not
stuff.
going to spoil it. I genuinely
It's the
wouldn't spoil
anniversary today.
it. It's a day that...
Let's talk about the 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, so
God, it's been so grueling.
this game... Wait, I'm going to get on how grueling it's actually been later. I'm going to talk about how grueling this 2 years has been.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about how much I want to just murder everyone. But yeah, this
Camera's
game's...
jutting, by the way. All right.
High CPU usage, apparently.
Yes, working.
Yeah, so anyway, about this actual game. So, the combat is a bit... I've heard people say it's a bit stiff, and I think it's absolutely fine, personally. So you have... It's multiple different things. You have... Obviously, it's only pretty much swords. There are different variations of swords, but there's not... It's all one-handed swords. There's no shields, there's no broadswords, there's
That sounds alright.
nothing like this, because it's Witcher gear, what witches classically use. Apart from Geralt, this time is breaking tradition by he's using a crossbow as well.
Son of a bitch.
Because they don't use bows, crossbows, anything like that. Even though surely that makes sense that they should, because they fight flying things quite a lot.
No, he's a loose cannon who don't play by the rules.
But yeah, so you got a crossbow, which is pretty shit. You can get other crossbows, you can upgrade it, you can make other bolts and stuff for it. So I haven't really played with other bolts. I've got a new type called precision bolts at the moment, which are basically armor penetrating ones.
Right.
I haven't had any really armoured opponents to fire them against, so I don't know how good they are.
But it's
But
very
yeah.
much a strategy game, isn't it? It's like using the right weapon to combat the right enemy.
Not really. You have steel and silver, and whenever you go to fight that, it automatically changes.
Oh,
Was it automatic?
okay.
The second one you chose
Yeah,
manually,
I know,
which
I
I
know.
really liked because it meant you had to trial and error.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I
No,
remember
that's what-
fighting something and then thinking, what the fuck am I... Alright, I'll just get this one out
Yeah,
instead.
I
and
think that's what it should do, but maybe the issue is people just use the silver sword all the time, because the silver sword can fight everything, but it damages really fast,
Yeah.
and obviously they're really hard to make and really expensive. So maybe that was the problem, that people just like, my sword's just dying constantly. I don't understand. So you're
Stop
meant to
being a
use just
dickhead
yeah,
then.
you're meant to use a steel sword against most enemies, about natural enemies.
Fair enough
Because-
if you didn't like start at the first Witcher, but if you did, it's something that you'd learn early on. Because you remember the book for the first Witcher.
I
Like
didn't play the first Witcher.
the
That's
the
thing.
book that came with it, like the little manual, if you want. It's like that fucking thing.
Oh, really?
It is like a tome Bible because there's so much to learn about it, and it's
Yeah.
good that they haven't made it as convoluted as that. But it's one of those things that's like, well, this is an important thing, is that you have a normal sword and you have a silver one.
Yeah,
And your silver one naturally silver breaks pretty quickly.
It explains
Yeah.
that in the second one. I thought pretty well. It kind of explains that in this one, but doesn't really say about it. There's plenty of times when people are like, "Why do you have two swords?" But then he doesn't generally answer them, because it's usually like some dickheads that you're about to fight in a bar, which happens. Which they don't. I don't see why they don't go. Why do you have? They can't do like, why you got two swords, and they don't automatically think maybe he's a Witcher, because they classically carry around two swords, and everyone knows about witches and they hate them because they're mutants.
Oh wait, maybe he just likes having two swords.
Yeah. Well, no, they're trying to pick a fight with you anyway, and it's one of the aspects of trying to pick a fight is, well, you got two swords, bruv.
They're like Cockney.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got two slashy things right there, the old mucker. Post only need the old one, I'll say.
I know I'm getting Dick Van Dyke.
They are quite English in this game, which doesn't make sense since
Hello, Geralt the Witcher.
they should be
Scandinavian.
Scandinavian. Yeah.
'Cause that's where the
Yeah, I was trying to remember where
Witcher
it's
comes
made.
from.
But I'm going to take a break.
Okay, no worries.
So
Take
we'll
it
be back
away.
in just a minute.
Back in a few.
Man, there's so many conspiracy theories about Antarctica.
Did you say Antarctica, you can't go there?
What?
You said you can't go to Antarctica.
I said you can't go there, you can't get to the edge.
Do you mean you can't get to the edge?
Because it's on the edge of the flat Earth, isn't it?
Yeah, but you said you said that. You said earlier that something about it being like against the law or something. You can't go there.
No,
It's
America. Essentially, Antarctica is doesn't belong to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Russians put a flag underneath Antarctica, like,
Yeah.
on one of
Yeah.
the lowest points, and claimed it and said, "Well, we own it." And America said to them, "You can't fucking do that." And they said, "You did it with the moon. Your call. You don't own the fucking moon. Your call."
God, that sounds so much better just in the accent.
Yeah, but
Fuck you.
that's what you know. Obviously, I'm going to be slightly partial to Russia because I am part Russian, and that's where my mum's side of the family going back comes from. But it's just because they hate each other so much. America's always like, "We're the big I am." Russia's just constantly like the guy at the back. Like someone comes up in class to do a presentation, like, "I'm so great," and Russia's just the kid at the back going, "Gay," yeah. Just ruining the whole presentation. I fucking love it.
I'm just thinking of Nico Bellic, just like.
He's not Russian.
He's not even Russian.
Where's he from? Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty much Russia.
it's ex-USSR.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we be back?
Yeah, one sec. Moving forward, drink.
Do you know what else is a conspiracy? Chernobyl. That never happened.
Fuck
No, I'm making that one up.
Bullshit, mate.
I'm sure there's plenty of
If it was
conspiracy theories about
if it was made up, go there. Go to the Red Centre.
Yeah, sure.
And have
Have
fun.
you seen the Top Gear episode where they drive past?
They drive around the outside, which is fine to do so.
Well, they've got rad counters in there that are going fucking
it's
nutty.
still, it's still irradiated around it, but it's not so like you shouldn't be there for a camp out there for the
Yeah, because I
week.
mean, essentially, they're building a massive dome over Chernobyl, aren't they?
They're putting another one because the lead's running out, and there's lead over the reactor as it is in the actual
Yeah,
plant.
yeah.
But they're having to put a proper dome over it because the lead that's already in there covering the reactor is where it is basically deteriorating.
I think essentially this is all made up so they can build a dome and then hide whatever they want inside that dome.
I don't think Chernobyl was actually as bad as people make it out to be.
Yeah, only killed how many people? Millions?
No, now, not at the time. Yes, then it was terrible.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Imagine, Hiroshima.
it's as radiated
Hiroshima,
now.
the bomb, the nuclear blast at Hiroshima. Yeah, well, I reckon they blow that out of proportion. Nuclear blast, it's nothing.
It's like
You can be a ghoul if you want. You're fine.
it's like all the Americans when they were first testing their bombs. They were using it on those tiny islands when they I forget. They've got really weird
Yeah,
names. I can't
yeah.
remember what they're called. But essentially, they got all these people, and they were like,
That's where Godzilla came
we're
from."
going to rehome you while we test our bombs on your home." So they like moved them all away, and then once they tested the first one, they then realised that they were.
No, the first one was outside of Vegas.
Well,
They did it
I
in
don't
the
mean the
Nevada-
first one. I mean the first one
That
that they
was
tested in
in
that
the
particular
Nevada desert,
place.
wasn't it?
But
You can-
they
they were in
realised
Vegas
that,
when they
that
watched it.
they were not far enough away, and that the radiation was a lot more powerful than they expected it to be. And then after, I think it was like after 10 years or something, they moved all these people back to their homeland, and they left them there for God knows how long. They all got ridiculously sick, and then they were like, "Oh, maybe it's still radiated. Better get out."
Imagine that in Fallout. That'd be awesome in Fallout if that was just like a whole island of ghouls. Like you just go there.
Yeah.
That would be a cool DLC. Like a whole island.
I
just
still
full
think
of
it'd be a
ghouls,
good
like-
mechanic. Hopefully, they do in the new one
They
to
won't
be
do it.
actually
They won't do
be
it.
a ghoul. Why?
They won't do it.
Why?
That would be really cool.
It would
I've
be
always
really cool.
wanted to play a ghoul.
There's
so
loads,
that I need to get it on
of DLC.
PC.
There's
I
loads
need
of
to get-
DLC for it. I've got DLC at the moment. Not DLC, sorry,
Mods.
mods. I've got a mod at the moment that you can be a ghoul or you can be a half ghoul. And so like
So only part of you's melted.
yeah, so you're ghoulifying basically.
There should be like
And
it should
it's
be like radiation, but where you go past the point of no return. Do you know what I mean? So you can't use
ghoulify in the game.
Yeah, that's what I actually
You can,
thought.
yeah.
Ghoulification takes years though. That's the problem.
That's what I thought with
it's
Fallout
low,
3.
It's low amounts of radiation for a long period of time, not high amounts.
right.
So
I stood in the puddle for like a few hours in game, hoping that I'd turn into a
Yeah,
ghoul.
well, because obviously, I mean, you're saying it goes over a long time, but
Yeah.
all these people that are ghouls, that it's obviously happened in their lifespan. They didn't start out as ghouls, did they?
no, but I mean, it's not like a long time of like. It's a long time of like I don't know, like a year or something like that. There's a vault full
But
of
you don't know
ghouls.
how long like in-game time really is, do you? I mean, you could be playing a game you could put 500 hours into a game, and then
It's got a timer.
Yeah, you do have day and night cycle.
yeah, but not.
Like if you sat in like in like a one rad zone and just kept waiting, just kept wait 24 hours, wait 24
And
hours,
it
wait
pops up
24
and saying,
hours.
"Congratulations, you're a ghoul."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yes, this is what I wanted."
So I don't see any problem with them adding that. Although you wouldn't.
No, I would be
It would
happy with them
affect all
doing
your
it.
relationships with
That's the
people,
problem.
wouldn't it?
That's the problem. They would have to rewrite the entire game
Yeah.
from a ghoul's perspective because everyone hates ghouls,
Yeah.
and they would have to record all all dialogue for every single encounter. They're not. They
I
wouldn't
don't
do
think
it
they
for
wouldn't
that
have to do it
fact.
for all. They could do it for some and some, and they could just have
They would- they
they
would
could have
have to-
ambient abuse thrown at you in the streets. So
there's-
you know, when you usually
there's-
pass people
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh, I
yeah.
hear something's going on over there." They could be just like, "Ugh, my blood."
There's no way you get into a conversation and someone doesn't like treat you slightly differently because you're a ghoul.
Yeah, but then in number 3, is it, where you've got your companion that's a ghoul?
Yeah.
There's always people making comments about him when he's with you.
Yeah, but that's because they wrote comments for Karen. They would have to rewrite every single situation for you, the player. That's a lot more than people talking about Karen.
No, I know, but it's not difficult to do. It can be done. Put the time and effort in.
They
Anyway,
possibly may, but I don't think they would.
we need to come
And
back.
also, your whole storyline would be different. Hello, and we're back. We're already back before that. I'm bringing us back in before that. So
Someone's grumpy about ghouls.
I would
In
love
fact, that's
to.
the name of the podcast episode. Grumpy about ghouls.
No, the podcast episode is called "It's Turtles All the Way Down." I've already decided that, or Tortoises All the Way Down.
Is
I
that
can't
because the flat Earth's
Yeah.
getting carried by
Yeah.
tortoise?
Yes. So, Witcher 3. Did you realise I'm not wearing headphones? I realised this about.
I
10
thought about this earlier. I was like, is my mic working? I was like, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, I realised this about 10 minutes in, and I was like thinking, oh shit, I don't have the headphones on now. It's too late to go back.
You could just pick up the
I
headphones.
thought it was just part of your new setup.
No, I should have. At least we can see the marks though, so we can see that it is working.
Yes.
I did look when I realised.
Testing.
Anyway. Glug.
The Witcher is amazing. The fighting, I think, is absolutely fine. You basically got roll, parry, and block, and sidestep kind of thing. So sidestep is basically what I use constantly.
I
But
thought you were going to tell us what it was then. Sidestep is when you like literally move your body to the right or left.
it's not necessarily sidestep. You can you step to the direction
Strafe.
you're pressing, so you go forwards, back, left, right. So I use that constantly, but I had to change the key of it because the key on PC is Alt, which is, I don't know why you put anything in Alt, because Shift controls easy to get to on WASD, space easy to get to on WASD, but when you're in a fight situation, you're trying to get to Alt, you're like doing this and you've got to claw your thumb like underneath.
Why would you not play with a Xbox controller?
I did do that briefly.
I prefer
didn't
playing
really,
keyboard
I
and
didn't
mouse, to
really
be
like
honest.
it.
Really?
On a lot, not
I can
all
say on
games, but a lot of
shooting games, first-person shooters, yeah, keyboard and mouse all the way. But
No, I did try it. I did do it at one point, and I thought actually I prefer. I had already started though on keyboard and mouse. Maybe if I started out on a controller, I might have liked it. I didn't realise when you first start, but it does like tell you constantly, because it's like once you go into the options and you come out the options, it's like keyboard and mouse recognised. So it's like straight away. But I started it like that, and I was like, whatever. But I tried it with a controller, and I just didn't like it. I couldn't work out how to do some of the things because it's just over the amount of buttons for a controller.
Yeah,
But
that's
like-
why I prefer
but like-
keyboard and mouse as
but
well.
like-
You can assign more.
Yeah, by like 3 things, it's over the amount of a controller. I couldn't work out how to
I'm
change
sure if it's
spell.
on console that they fit all the things onto the controller.
Yeah, they do. But you have to press like button and then another button.
It'll be a button.
So do you mean
combination.
like when you're holding like the right bumper to bring up a wheel of something?
Yeah.
Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
kind of like there is a wheel of
You'll set different stance
yeah.
modes by pressing it, so you could they'd probably have all the fighting moves as your standard, and then you hold down a button and press
Yeah.
one, and it's suddenly like now you're defending. Or
Right,
Yes,
okay.
there is
Okay,
a
I'm with
wheel. There is a wheel in the game. You hold tab, and it brings up a wheel of all your spells, which is only like 5 spells, and then like other like grenades, bombs,
Yeah.
crossbow, torch, that kind of thing. But I rarely use that. But it is a lot easier because it slows down time, and I imagine that's the only way you can do it on the control pad. But on PC, you can also do it by scrolling the wheel to change spell. But it's really sensitive.
Right.
So like you're trying to do it, and you're in action. You're like, I need to scroll to Igni, which is like the next one down. You scroll like 2, and it's like, fuck, I need to scroll up 1. Oh no, gone up like 3. Oh, I'm trying to fucking get away from them and do this. But some reason I haven't caught on that I should just be pressing tab all the time because it's so much easier to do it. But yeah, so the fighting is the sword fighting. You have those things. People say it's clunky. I don't think it's clunky. Using this block is a bit hard. It's a bit clunky to do the block. Admittedly, parries. Just parries. You have to do it just as you have to block just as attacks coming in, which is kind of hard when you've got. It's not Assassin's Creed. It's not. You don't have a group of people surrounding you and they take turns. Like the highest enemy I've found so far are wolves, even if they're a lower level, just because they just mercilessly attack. And even if you do get attacked by something, it staggers you. Every attack, like, pretty much staggers you. So you can fight back. So you can go toe to toe with someone and fight fine. But if you're being hit and you're trying to then dodge away, it makes that really hard, which is kind of like realistic and good. But then if you've got like 2 people, so you've got someone who does like a 3 attack combo, which is kind of like the standard thing against you, and then you're like, oh, I finally got out of that, try and step away to move around him. Then you've got someone else who ends up starting that directly as they finish. You can get fucked in seconds. Like, it's really hard. I actually downgraded my difficulty level. I was playing on Broken Bones, which is the second highest one. But the problem is you can meditate in the game, which is just like waiting on Fallout or something, or on Skyrim, and that heals you. But on Broken Bones and the one higher, it doesn't.
Right. Okay.
So you can own and like I think later on in the game that's not that actually that bad. Like where I am now, it's not that bad. But early on, you don't have any like potions or anything. The only way you can heal is food, and food's not that easy
Similar
to
to
get.
the hard mode then on Fallout. And stuff
Yeah,
like that.
kind of. Yeah, hardcore. Yeah, and it's not that easy to get food, surprisingly. Like I've had enough, but I have run really low down and stuff. But once you finish, it automatically puts something into that slot, into your healing slot. So it will have food there, and then you can finish all your food, and it will load up a different item. And I had it in one turn, in one fight that I was like, it was really hard. I'd gone in some bandits that I couldn't fight, and I was fighting them. I was like, oh shit, ran away. I was healing up, slid down this really steep hill, was trying to run away, and then some wolves came after me. And I started I ate all the honeycomb, I think it was, that I had on me at the time. I ate all that, and then it brought, the next item it had in line was a beer, and I didn't realise, and I hit to drink it, and it just made me really drunk, like straight away. Apparently Geralt's a lightweight, but in all the cutscenes he's not. But yeah, so straight away I drunk it and the vision just goes whoom, 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 and I was like, fucking hell, I'm trying to run away and now I've just got the worst fucking situation come. The thing was, it wasn't only like one beer it put in there was like 5 stacked, so either I'd have to drink them all or go to tab and switch them out, and I didn't want to. It feels like it's harder to do that in a way. I feel like you slow down your running a bit to reach over the keyboard to switch out, so like in the time that it does that and then coming back, the wolves are really fast, so they could catch up on me. So it's just like, just keep fucking running, just keep running. I'm drunk, everything's swaying, but I'd keep going. But yeah, obviously I survived that situation. Obviously, because I'm badass. But yeah, it's a hard game. I wouldn't advise playing Broken Bones or the one above on your first playthrough. What's it? Story and Sword is what I'm playing at the moment, and that's hard enough. But it is doable to play the other modes, definitely. It doesn't really make Broken Bones and Story and Sword. That the fighting's not that much harder.
A little bit, mate, for anniversary.
Yeah, it's not that much harder, but the fact that you can't heal in meditation is really hard. They have a really weird thing though, that the potions, you make any potions when you meditate, it regenerates all potions. It does kind of explain it. It's like if you have alcohol in you, it will use the alcohol to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't realise that, and that's why I think it'd be easier later on when you have loads of potions and you can heal and have healing stuff. But I changed it way before then because I was in the first area.
So it's
and
just getting through that initial
first. Yeah, I was in the first area, White Orchard, which is like its own like training zone. It's a big open world bit, but it's nowhere near as big as the next area. It's tiny compared to it, but it's like it shows you everything, and there's some really cool stuff. You have the tracking stuff, which you have Witcher Sense. You hold right mouse button or left trigger on control, and you go into like the classic thing now of like detective mode of Batman, or loads of games have it now, and it highlights anything you can do. And then it also highlight like there's other things you can do. So in one mission, I was hunting down a werewolf, and I smelt a bit of fur, and then that gave me the smell direction.
Yeah, like Batman style.
So yeah, so it had a bit in the air. That was all the smell of where it went. So yeah, that's really cool. That it's not just like the one thing. It's not just you can just smell it. You actually have to find an item, and then like you're like, oh, this is this, and you can smell and go away. Yeah, so far a lot of the mechanics are awesome. It's a really in depth. It's really hard to get into some of the mechanics and understand them. It doesn't explain a lot straight off. It doesn't export your saves from The Witcher 2, but you can just say, you can basically click I played Witcher 2, and then it gives you. It doesn't give you like different story outcomes, I don't think, but
it catches you up the start of it up to what you would know.
Yeah, basically you talk to a character, and they say, like they ask you all these questions about what happened, and then you basically do your decisions of what happened. But I think if you don't have that ticked, they basically just tell you what had happened. So it has like a default thing. So that's pretty cool in that. Spells and stuff are really interesting, though you pretty much use Igni for everything, which is a fire spell. My favourite, what I thought I'd like, is Ard, which is like a force push, which I use like that kind of spell in everything that I play that has it. So obviously Skyrim, Fable has a spell that's similar. Skyrim has the shell. Yeah, a lot of stuff. I always use those things. I really like it. But so far, I mean, you can upgrade each spell. So you don't learn new spells, but you can upgrade them. There's a skill tree for everything. There's a skill tree for your fighting, for your spells, for alchemy, and for just general kind of thing.
Sorry, guys.
And
I need to take a break again.
Okay.
Sorry, but we're going to have to speed this up, mate.
Well, if you go on, I'll just finish up.
Are you in such a rush, Josh?
Not in such a rush. You were at some point as well. You're going to the gym.
Not anymore.
So you have all these different spells, and they interact with the game environment differently as well. So if there's like a house that has like a boarded up door, sometimes you can use the force push one, to blow in the door.
Right.
There's other things where basically because you have Igni, you can create fire. You can also extinguish fire. So you just walk around all these houses and there's just like candles. You just light all the candles. Or if like someone's in a house and I go in there and I don't like the person, I just turn off all their candles. Like fuck you have no light. Like, you're not allowed.
Live in the dark ages.
Yeah. So I pretty much just every house you walk into, you either light candles or extinguish candles. There's a lot of like you find like bandits in the woods and stuff, and they always have like a campfire. And I always feel I have to extinguish the fire after I kill them in case I want forest fire. Obviously that doesn't happen, but like I'm always like, well, I've got to be responsible about this. But fucking hell, is that game populated? You load it up. You load it. The second area you get into, like the first area, there's loads of question marks anyway, but that's a training area, and everything in those question marks are either like treasure or something that basically teaches you how to play the game.
Yeah.
Which a lot of things I've heard, they say, oh, don't stay in White Orchard, just get out. But no, I would say stay in the first area, do everything in the first area. It won't take you that long, and you learn so much from doing
get all your tutorials done.
But yeah, once you're in the second area, you think like there's a lot of question mark bits in the first area, but once you go into the second, they're fucking everywhere. And that's not the only area you have in the game as well. This is huge. This first map is insanely big, and like it's I don't know, as big as any game that I've played really. But that's not the only area you have. There's other areas that you unlock, I believe. So like, I'm still fairly early on in the story. So I've been let's playing all the story, but I've been playing the side quests on my own. Yeah. Because obviously that's just too much.
Yeah.
So like so far I've been doing about 50-50 of the amount, because like at points I'm too tired to let's play, so I'm just like I'll just do the side quests. But there's whole cities that I've missed out so far because I don't want to go to them without recording it. But it's just fucking huge, so much stuff, and it's so amazing. In the interest of time, I'll probably talk about it more next week anyway, because I know more about other things. But there's a lot. The game is very in depth. If you thought Skyrim was a bit much for you, or anything more than Skyrim would be too much for you, there's no way you can play this game.
No.
Absolutely no way you can play this game. You have to pay attention to a lot of stuff, and just learn what it's a lot of trial and error of learning what you're doing. Like I didn't know about potions, and at one point I had used up all my potions and I wanted to make more, and it said you already have that potion, but I was like, but I've used it up, I didn't understand, so I dropped it and made a new set. But then I realised later on that once you meditate, it just refills them all.
Right, yeah.
So you only ever actually have to make these things once, and then it regenerates them on their own later on, which is really cool. And also one thing I really like about this game, compared to any other RPG, is in the crafting, you don't make it. You go to a blacksmith or an armour smith,
and they do it for you.
And they make the stuff, which makes so much more sense. In Dragon Age Inquisition, you're leading a fucking army. You're learning about what the mark is that you're closing rifts. You're whatever class you are anyway, so you want to focus on being an amazing like fighter to lead this army. But also, you're a really good blacksmith. You're better than everyone else. It doesn't make sense.
So multi-talented.
Yeah, so all the blacksmiths have different ratings as well, so they can only make up to a certain item
quality
limit.
or something, yeah.
So it's all separated out, and it makes so much more sense, and I really like that. You are a great alchemist, though. You can make all the alchemy.
We have been on
but they
all the Witcher games, though.
Yeah, I mean, Witchers, they learn alchemy in a way. It does make sense. They use alchemy a lot in their stuff, like not just potions, but bombs and stuff. And
they're pretty much spell swords. Anyway,
yeah, they are. Yeah.
So they can use magic and,
they really
sword
are.
and
The thing, I'm not having to worry about wanting to restart a character in Witcher, because you're just set. There's one class, and it is pretty much a class because it would be considered a class in any other game. You are a spell sword. You have small amount of spells, and you fight with sword mainly. But there are other people in the game. There's mages and stuff, or there's other types of things. But that's what a Witcher typically is
a spell sword.
Yeah. So, like, you're locked into doing it now. They spread it slightly with giving you a crossbow in this, but it's not very good. It is good when you're fighting like griffins and stuff, but not hugely. If it's flying around and you're shooting at it, it's really easy to miss.
Yeah.
But so you basically have to wait for it to come directly at you, and then you fire it at it, and then it crashes to the ground. So that's the only point that you really use it, but it's quite good for what they do it with. Anyway, so I'll leave the Witcher talk for now. I will be mentioning this a bit again next week because I'm absolutely obsessed with this game so far. It's definitely my game of the year so far. Probably will be by the end of the year, but obviously I can't say till the end of the year. But I imagine it will be, and that's why I was happy to talk about The Witcher 2 on the second anniversary as well. Because
Witcher 3.
Witcher 3 on the second is because I mixed up the numbers. Then
That's cool.
I'm happy to talk about it on the second anniversary podcast because it's probably going to be talked about at the end of the year as well. It's kind of fitting that this is the game that I've played that I talk about on this one.
That's fair enough.
So yeah, we wanted to talk about us. Basically, first before we talk about anything else, I wanted to thank everyone. I wanted to thank you guys, Dom, who's not here as usual now, Paul Oliver, Noah Morales, anyone else who's comes on the podcast from time to time. This thing keeps me sane. It keeps me from committing suicide quite a lot of the time. So I absolutely love doing this thing. It really keeps me going a lot of the times in dark times. It also makes me want to commit suicide quite often because it's really hard to
I'm
organise.
surprised having this guy on every week.
Yeah, it's really fucking hard to organise.
Trust me, if I spend so much time in a room with myself, I feel the same way.
It's like I always enjoy once it's starting, but getting it starting, even down to the day, I'm like biting my nails. Is this thing actually going to happen quite a lot of the time? It's not just like, I'm not saying it's you. Like,
I'm such a prick.
Josh, he can be hard to get sometimes, but that's mostly because a lot of the time we record on Sundays and he has his paintball.
Airsoft. You son of a
Playing
bitch.
with men in the woods, essentially.
He has laser tag.
What we do in the woods is another episode.
Yeah. But it's so hard, especially Dom. He's insanely hard to get hold of. He has a kid, fair enough sometimes. Bit hard though.
Everyone has children.
Yeah,
Get over it.
Everyone else is always hard to get hold of. I had some people today that said they were going to do it and then dropped out before, and that always happens. Alex is a godsend. Whenever he says he'd do it, he pretty much does it, even though we nearly didn't have him on today.
Well, Alex dropped out and then we saw him in the street as we were heading here to the house. And we were like, oh, you're not going to the podcast then?
No,
That's exactly where I was going.
We put a bag over his head and dragged him here.
That's why he's in the shorts.
Yeah. My brother is always good. He nearly came on today, but he couldn't make it before 8 o'clock, and everyone else wanted to do it before 8, so I just decided that
I'm sorry.
we go with Alex rather than him.
Better choice, to be fair.
But yeah, I wanted to thank anyone who watches or listens to the podcast as well. You've been great the last 2 years. You've really helped this stuff move along. We're not the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah, donations would be nice.
Donations would be nice. New equipment. Everyone else gets a mic stand. That would be great.
Yeah, look at this hierarchy in there.
I do want to get everyone their own arms. Just because, not their own arms, like their
I
own,
have two already.
their own mic arms.
Sadly,
I mean.
these are hand-me-downs.
Their own mic arms because it'd make it so much easier, especially when you're on.
Why?
Because you don't have the microphone to your mouth at all. Josh was really bad when he first started as well, admittedly.
I used to talk like this.
Yeah.
Very animated.
And then I like whacked it out of the park, and I was just like, "Whoa, look at that!"
The funny thing is, you're taking the piss out of the fact they used to be doing it right now.
I know.
No,
the
but
point,
I mean,
the point
no.
is that I'm taking the piss by doing
No,
it.
I know, but I'm saying it just makes the audio terrible.
I know it does. I'm giving everyone a sample if they haven't watched the previous ones.
Yeah, and it get Alex on more, and then it learn to not move ever.
Says you.
Yeah, I get fidgety.
Yeah.
We all suffer
You're
from
just
the foot
expressive
tapping.
with your hands, and so is everyone. So
Yeah, this is turning into a bit of an attack than a thanking sort of ceremony, isn't it?
That's not was a godsend now.
I was like, you're great. You know, so glad to have you here, but for fuck's sake,
sort yourself out. That's all I'm asking. No, I was
Well,
bad with it as
we
well.
thank you as well, Carl, for having us on.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, well, I wish I had some better people, but you know.
Stuck with
You
what
farted.
God gave you.
That was my
Oh, sure it was. No, yeah,
Shoes.
yeah. I tried to get Paul over on today. I didn't ask Noah because I asked him a while ago, and he said he doesn't play games anymore. He doesn't care. So
He doesn't listen to hip hop.
No, he doesn't listen to hip hop. So I didn't ask him to come on. I tried to get Paul
He was
Oliver.
one of the originals, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's it. Me, him, Paul Oliver, and Dom. So I really wanted Dom here because he hasn't been on in like 2 months, and this is obviously, it would be nice to have him on the 2-year anniversary of. Actually, he wasn't on the first episode though, so fair enough.
Just edit a picture of him
Yeah.
sat next to me.
Just
or
get him on
something.
with his face
Yeah.
drawn on it and a little toupee just floating.
He,
That'd be fine.
he wasn't here, so on the first one, so I mean he doesn't count. He
I think we
couldn't
were
make
there
it
on
to
the
the
first one
first
either.
episode.
Was the first one at my house?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, yours and Noah's and
I'm a
Jenny's
massive influential piece
Yeah,
to
so
this
yeah,
puzzle.
Yeah, you were partly to do with the original of the podcast yourself,
Well,
even though you weren't on it.
You know.
You're just
And
a
I
giver,
think
aren't
I
you?
think you ran out of the room.
I remember coming home from work a few times, then just talking to you through the window while you're podcasting, and being like,
You-
"Right, see you later."
You were always really scared, and I think
Right, we're podcasting now.
I think we talked about doing. We were like, oh, we're sitting down, we're doing the podcast, and you opened the door, and then we're like, oh, we're like just about to podcast or something, and you were like, I don't want to be recorded, and ran away, like something like that.
It's a
I dunno.
conspiracy. Recording equipment steals part of you.
Does it?
Get on Facebook. There's a group for it. Should we-
Yeah,
I think we
so,
should probably-
we should move on to the actual
Josh,
topic. I was just about
Josh
to.
desperately wants
Yeah.
to move on.
That's all I'm
He's
saying.
timekeeper.
So,
he's
Carl,
good.
back to The Witcher.
Yeah.
I am timekeeper because I need to go at
So
some point.
we were talking. Well, we wanted to talk a bit about, because it's our anniversary. We wanted to talk about anniversaries of other things as well. One notable anniversary is that it's been last week. It was now. I put it back a week because I wanted to put it on this week's one. Last year it was the 10-year anniversary of the announcement of the Xbox 360. Me and Josh watched a
Of
bit
the
of this
announcement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's not a real anniversary.
it is.
It is because it's when it gets released to the public,
Yeah,
as in the knowledge of it.
like it's not like the.
lied to us.
It's not
That's not a
like.
real anniversary.
It is. It
If
is.
it was the anniversary of the day the concert would come out, I could buy into that.
No,
That's great.
this-
but
the
if
annou-
I could just
the
say, yeah, like,
anniversary of like the world finding out about it. It's not like I'm saying it's the announcement of the E3 press conference.
okay,
that came out
PlayStation
afterwards.
5 is going to come out at some point, so this is now the anniversary because I've announced that it's going to come out.
That's not an announcement. This was the actual. No,
I'll
we're
get on
talking
the
about
phone to
because
Sony and let them know the anniversary. The date is now.
Yeah, better let them know.
the announcement of it was. It's just hilarious though. It's also
Yeah, oh, yeah, MTV.
it's so 2005 because it was hosted by MTV.
Elijah Wood is the first celebrity you see talking
Elijah
to you.
Wood is the host of it all, and then it has Sway, who was some like rapper back then that's nowhere notable at all now.
They've got Pimp My Ride
They
as
got Pimp My
customising
Ride.
an Xbox.
They customise an original Xbox. They have
They have 3 MLG players going to a Rare's office, development office to go play Perfect Dark Zero.
which flopped anyway. No one gave a shit about.
And they were like, yeah, I can see this really taking off. It's like,
Yeah.
oh dear.
Yeah, it's so funny watching it now.
No, was it Future Perfect? It was Future Perfect, wasn't it?
It's Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark, Future Perfect though.
Maybe, yeah.
I
yeah,
think
Perfect
Future
Dark was the big hit on the N64, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, Perfect Dark was a big game by Rare originally, and then they brought it to Xbox 360.
It was
the
like there was
next one, but a lot of people said it wasn't the same.
people hold it in high regard like GoldenEye. on the
Yeah, I was about to
N64,
say, yeah, people compare it to GoldenEye, don't they? Yeah.
which
Yeah,
was
it-
still,
the
still an amazing game today, to be honest. I love GoldenEye.
Yeah, I don't like it. No, it's
Well,
shit. It's terrible.
Is it because of the controls like Resident Evil?
No, it's because it's shit.
Do you know what I
It's
think's
not-
weird about going back and playing old games? Is like I recently bought San Andreas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And back in the day when you played it, best graphics ever.
Yeah.
And now when you play it, I can go back and play games on the N64 and I'll think this is just as good as when I played it before. But playing GTA, I think the thing is because obviously they had the formula there ready to go, and all they've done is improve it since then. There's been no actual changing. So I think that's probably why it's harder to go back to the old games. But like I say, you can play old N64 and SNES games, and it's just like it was then.
It's almost that nostalgia as well,
Yeah.
isn't it? You think, oh, I remember when I used to sit here with my old massive TV with the small screen playing it, thinking this is the best thing ever. It can't get better than this.
Yeah, I bought San Andreas. I was so excited to play it, and I turned on. I was like, "This is fucking awful." I can't look at that.
No, I did find that with a few old games before.
8%. Right, we're gonna have to be fast and read out. I'm gonna chuck out the big names on this list, and then we're gonna just burn my laptop.
And then we're going to end it there. I don't mean the
I think
podcast.
Josh hates the podcast.
I don't mean the podcast. I mean we're going to
So
get up.
second year anniversary. Fuck this shit.
I mean we're going to get out the cyanide capsules I dished out to begin with. This is going to end it.
The diluted cyanide I put in all your drinks.
Oh yeah.
You'd probably get quite a big fan base from that.
Remember those
Maybe
guys that
it's
killed themselves
worth it.
I
alive?
didn't think about fucking Nirvana-ing this shit.
Just keep one person alive, and then they can run the show for the rest of the
yeah,
time.
I thought about just
Next
Nirvana.
to two lifeless bodies.
I thought about Nirvana-ing this plenty of